Okay, it's show time. So let me get my shit working. All right. Oh, we will be starting soon. Turn on my PS5. I'm gonna take a look at this shit. We're gonna try to be quick today as well. I don't think you meant to be in here. All right, fine. Where's the fucking remote? Somebody jumped in here. Why is everything so far? My God. Be quick today as well. So far, so good. Instead of me having to do all this shit on my computer, this really helps me out. All right. Welcome to another No Filter podcast. And today we are going to be talking about some interesting things. You see how I switched that shit up, right? I had to say things instead of topics, right? Because I'm tired of hearing podcasts say shit like that. But no, we got some things that we're going to be talking about that are going to be very interesting. Very interesting. First and foremost, if you are a supporter of this podcast, don't forget to follow on Twitter, because this is where it's being broadcast, or on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. It really, really, really helps. It is so serious. And really, to be honest with you, it helps the algorithms, and it also helps me to be motivated to do things like this. But without further delay, let's get into these topics. First topic will be about services strikes again. And what we're going to be really talking about regarding that topic is Ubisoft now have their own little, I mean, they've always had it before, but a lot of services were kind of connected to Game Pass. And that's what, the sentiment was regarding that one. So I was wondering, how do you feel about more and more publishers? And I would presume it will be Sony as well. Hold on. The algorithms, and it also helps me to be motivated to do things like this. Okay, so it works. How do you feel about it, number one? How would that affect you when you purchase how would that affect your gaming purchases? Put it that way, right? That's the biggest thing. Does it affect your gaming purchases knowing that there are going to be services that are going to be pretty beneficial for some people out there? I spoke to somebody, what was it? It's on a different podcast. And what he ended up stating is that he had his services, or he used Game Pass because his son purchased, he wanted to use it for his son, his young son. So we'll get into more of that. The second thing is dangerous gaming narratives. And over the course of time, I've gone over and just on YouTube, on Twitter, and any other social media outlet, I've sat there and I've seen how dangerous gaming narratives could be. So one of the things that really affected a developer was it was Ben Studios. The narrative was that their game was really bad. It had bugs. I mean, a lot of games had bugs, but they did tell the people initially what was going on with their game. It was it was basically a disclaimer saying that this is going to be buggy. It's only for here, so you can understand the quality of the game. And the game got ripped to shreds. It got ripped to shreds for political motivations, talking about why aren't there any black zombies, which they're not even zombies. And they explain why they look the way that they look anyway. Why is he a gruff white guy? Where's the diversity and all other shit? Those particular types of narratives. And it ultimately led to that publisher or the producers leaving and feeling quite salty about the lack of success. It's a lot of things that were going on. So we were talking about that. And last but not least, I can't use the word when I say the Maxines don't work. Maxines doesn't work well. Don't work well. I'll put it that way. I'll probably correct that spelling because I look like a fucking idiot. Actually, let me do it now. When I say the Maxines, I am talking about this crazy ass thing that everybody is catching. And they're using some sort of mitigator to either fight it off, or they are going to, or I suppose, reduce the symptoms. So I can't use the words, unfortunately. I have to, because everything is being censored. So I have to say it that way. I'm not going to have that as a main topic. What I'm going to do is discuss my thoughts on world news, things like that. It could be conspiracy theory. It could be whatever it may be. But it's going to be about that, about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're off. But without further delay, we are going to talk about the first topic here, which is the games. What's going on, Fado? I see you in here. If you wanted to jump in and join or whatever the case is, you are free to do so. Just send a request and I'll catch that. And why is it blinking like that? It's just stupid. Anyway, and then I'll put you in. Oh, I see why it's blinking. This shit's bugging out. Okay. So Ubisoft releases their own games as a service. There's a couple questions I have, but before we even answer or ask the questions, I'm going to explain what Ubisoft is, because it's different actually from EA Play, which surprised the shit out of me. I thought they were the same, which is the same as Game Pass. None of them are the same. It's just interesting in their take on it. So I went on their website and kind of, did some sleuthing and found out, well, they're going to have things like Immortal Phoenix Rising. Oh, I hear something say, ka-dook, ka-dook. Let's see what that ka-dook means. All right, I see you in here. How the hell are you, Fado? Jemiah, what's going on? What's cracking lacking, man? Where have you been lately?
Sulking.
Why? What happened?
Nothing, man. Nothing.
Makes sense.
Just needed a break. That's all. Clear my head of some shit.
I heard there was some dramas going on, which we won't talk about them dramas.
If you want to say drama, I mean gaming drama, sure, but nothing personal.
Yeah, gaming drama. Yeah, obviously, gaming drama.
That's over and done with, though. We're Gucci on that.
I figured because you usually come in and you're like, man, I can't stand whatever drama it was, and I'm getting the fuck out of here and shit like that. I really do appreciate you stopping by. Honestly, I appreciate you stopping by, and because the show is going to go on regardless. Hold on for a minute.
Just needed a break. That's all.
Okay, I had to play it on my TV just to see if it'll work or not, because this shit is fugazi as shit, glitching and all other stuff. So I got to keep an eye on it and make sure that I can remove the parts that are shitty. So either way, services strike again. So let me go ahead and get this going on. I thought that Ubisoft service was going to be basically the same thing as EA Play, which is basically the same thing as Game Pass, which is all included in that bitch to some degree. And I found out that it's a little different. So going on to their website directly, they state Ubisoft is making it easier to access our catalog of new releases, which I'm not sure if that's day and date. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Fatal, if it is day and date. I'm not sure. Beloved franchises and classic Ubisoft titles. This catalog is updated on a regular basis as new content becomes available. The Ubisoft online subscription allows you to download games from Ubisoft Plus catalog with no additional cost. You can subscribe to Ubisoft Plus on the website, rather, and on Ubisoft Connect PC by selecting the Ubisoft Plus tab. They say the multi-access plan allows you to play interesting, of Ubisoft Plus games on multiple devices. So cross-platform, essentially, is what that is. Access, I think Game Pass does that too. Access to Ubisoft, not all the time though. There's certain things that work, some things that don't. Access to Ubisoft games will be available as long as the subscription is available, which is standard practice. We kind of already understand that. They just kind of released Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Far Cry, I believe it was 6. Beta, how do you feel about Ubisoft doing that?
With the whole Uplay shenanigans?
Yeah, or whatever the fuck it is. I mean,
they're just testing the waters like EA did, man, with EA Play before EA Play became a man or within the actual Game Pass ecosystem. That's exactly what Ubisoft's about to do.
And to be honest, there's 50, well, not to be honest, just to let you know if you don't know, Ubisoft Plus or Connect, whatever the fuck names to be giving these fucking services, is $15. This shit is out of control. Next up is we already spoken to at length Game Pass, so you already know that it's supposed to be day and date for whatever Microsoft is first party. So that's just their shit. I believe what is it, $15 as well?
Yeah, if you're in the States, yeah.
Okay. So EA Play, they say EA Play is an ultimate gaming destination for everyone who loves EA games. EA Play gives more. See, this is fucking gymnastics for the fucking tongue. EA Play gives you more of fucking. I mean, this shit is making me
spit those fucking facts, dog. Shit.
Hey, that's homoerotic. EA Play gives you more of your favorite EA or Electronics Arts titles, more rewards, more exclusive trials, and more discounts, all for just $4.99 a month. Of course, this is States, or $29.99 a year. Here's what's included. Unlock exclusive challenges, rewards, that's for members only, early trials of new releases, and access to a library of top titles. Play select new releases or release games. Select, so I'm not giving you all of it, just certain ones for up to 10 hours, and it's only 10 hours, even before they launch. Ooh, see, and I had to reveal. Okay. They said, fuck me up. Okay. They said before they launch. This is what I'm sure it's fucking free to play shit. Get more to play with unlimited access to a collection of EA's favorite or fan favorite series and type titles. Save 10% on the purchases of EA digital content on Xbox, including game downloads, season passes, and points packs and DLC. Now, there is something that wasn't mentioned. I'm sure you probably remember this because everybody was they were in it right now. You know, they were in a bag for this one. But the thing that I'm mentioning is the PlayStation Spartacus was just supposed to combine PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now, offer some old school games as well. You know, like PS2s, they said PS3. This is rumored, right? Basically. PS 4 and 5. There's obviously going to be Select and Vita, no less. And then there was going to be a couple of tiers. So it's supposed to just completely get whatever the new name that they pick. Spartacus is not named, but whatever new name they pick, they're going to use that, and it's going to get rid of PlayStation Now. So the questions that I have, now that we got that out the way, is the wanted, right? And we need to figure out, I remember looking at a Sony slide, and they said that they get a fuck ton of money. They didn't say that deliberately or verbatim, but they get a fuck ton of money on microtransactions. So the reason why I mentioned that is it's maybe linked to the fact that they may have game trials, or if it is going to be day and date or free to play. Let me explain that: free to play, day and date, that they're willing to place that onto the service in hopes that you buy the microtransactions that they provide, i.e. Fortnite. Would that be a viable option for certain games? You know what I mean? And then on top of it is, how would that really affect people purchasing games? I mean, everyone says support your developer and stuff like that. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like day and date is something that they would consistently offer. That's for sure. Doesn't seem like that's consistently offered across all the services. Microsoft is the only one that is promising that. And we don't know to what extent until, some of these larger studios start releasing the games. It could be they're releasing all the games, but they are chopping those games up into quarters and shit like that. We don't really, really know, which is fine. But all this talk online about supporting the games, free to play and stuff like that, right? Which we'll talk about the Gaming Narritives regarding that. Is there something that could theoretically replace the $60, $70 model? The guy that gave me this insight, which was like, okay, I see you. So I asked him, he said his son uses Game Pass. And there's so many games out there that are you could play. It just makes sense, especially if you have kids, not to be just dropping $70 on there. So there's a quality/quantity type situation. So Fado, with all of that being said, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, excuse me. The service itself, like, technically is designed for people that can't afford to buy a lot of games. So with like the
you
whole
told me that too. You told me that shit too, and I was just like, it can't be. No.
It's literally just a cheaper option for people like myself who have low income, or anybody who has low income, to be able to keep their games going without having to own specific things. But that's the risk that you want to take.
Guys, Fado's on welfare in Section 8.
No, definitely not on welfare over here, because welfare over here is garbage, like really, really bad.
I know he's Canadian if you don't know, but go ahead.
Right, but I mean, it makes sense. Like from the parent perspective, it definitely makes a lot of sense, especially if you got a lot of kids and you don't want to be dishing out a lot of money to be buying a lot of these kiddie games and whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But that also has to be a dedication from Microsoft's side too, as well, to get those type of games on there for kids. And they attempted that last month, and then they're definitely going to keep that going. But there's only a limited amount of kiddie games that are out there. You know what I mean? Fucking on the Xbox. So that's the downfall.
There's only a certain amount of games in general to hold people's attention. That's the interesting thing, because at this point in time, you can be faithful, and even when it comes to Sony releasing a shit ton of games, even when it comes to that still doesn't exempt the issue. You know what I mean? One of the biggest issues. Oh, what's going on? I thought about to call you a little bastard. I'm sorry. You're not a little bastard. You're a little birdie. My bad.
Spit up my coffee, dude.
I was like, what's going on, little bastard? No. What's going on, man? We're just talking about the services just to let you know. And again, if it's your first time, if you want to hang in there for a few minutes to see if you like the content or not. If you do like it, a follow and a sub on YouTube, which is the same name, Gamecast, would be great. But yeah, if a game is $70, because you have that situation going on too. Like Sony has been releasing a lot of games, and they say they want to release a shit ton of games, and we don't know what capacity they're going to release it. Is it all going to be just hard cover copy games and shit like that? Is it going to be that, or are they going to start competing with itself? It's going to eventually it starts to cannibalize itself, and I think Microsoft is not a very forward-thinking company, and I think eventually they're going to kind of see the error of their ways, essentially. I think that's what's going to end up happening with them. There's time and commitment to having too much, or you can have too many games and just have one game do really, really well. But maybe it'll balance itself out. Maybe that game will catapult the service. So it's a really crazy fucking balance. Or maybe all of that synergy really adds the fuck up.
It's a very, very, very risky gamble, especially with a service like that where you have to create new content.
I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't know.
Is that Tron?
Your name? Yeah. Let me.
Like the Tron that we both know.
Yeah.
What up, Tron? But what was I going to say there, Josh? Yeah, it is a very risky move to do, especially when you're coming out with a service like that. You have to be creative with your content in order to keep people subscribed. You know what I mean? It's like with Netflix, and that's why a lot of people compare it to Netflix and other services, right? You have to have your own interesting content to keep people engaged into wanting to keep buying your subscription every month or every 3 months or every year, right? That kind of stuff. With gaming, however, though, there draws a parallel line where certain games, not every game that Microsoft is going to release is going to have microtransactions in it. And those are mainly going to be the ones that are from like the smaller studios that Microsoft recently picked up to fill out that gap. While like the bigger games that do come out, like the Halos and the Gears and whatever new IPs they decide to throw in there that are in that AAA status quo, those games will definitely have some form of MTXs or at least DLC that's going to make the game last for several years. Like Fable's going to go that route. I don't think Fable's going to be a MTX horror type kind of game, like a lot of people are saying, or to abuse the online system for cooperative wise. But I feel that game is definitely going to keep adding more to the world, kind of similar to the way like Playground does with Forza games in a way, but on a bigger scale though, like making it last longer.
You mean like different? You mean like different modes and shit like that, right?
Well, different modes are like more extensions to the map, like it's whatever the case would be, and more added content.
I got you. Okay, Tron, welcome.
Hi, Tron.
I decided to start talking to people again, so whatever.
I saw you going so dark glad for a you while, are. I didn't want to ask. Well, thank you for adding your feminine energy to such a masculine platform.
Oh, you ain't shit either. But I love you guys.
We miss you, Tron. We miss you, my dear.
I was like, man. I don't want to reach out. You know, it may look a little weird. So I was like, I'll let the offer stand on the other end. What's going on? Though? What you have to say about the these games and service and stuff like that?
I think it's just oversaturated, in my opinion. It's got to the point where I'm sitting here looking at I'm seeing here like people were. I remember seeing a few comments, and me and another person were talking, and we saw people saying when the Game Pass, they say if Game Pass goes up, they're going to cancel it. I was like, wait, hold up. I thought you guys were praying for it. So I also am concerned that some services may go up, and people are start going to look at it differently and start cutting that stuff down. So that's why I said it's oversaturating the market already, and it's not going to help that NFTs are being mixed in it, so they can lock good content if you're not paying like with what's it, Ethereum or some type of Litecoin,
Bitcoin, or whatever it is.
Yeah, they could also put that there. Microsoft, I don't know. They may say, "Oh, we're not for the NFTs," but they already have a hand in the NFTs.
So I'm one of the people that, as conservative as I may sound, especially later on, people are not going to like what I'm going to say, but it's the truth. It's not going to be any kind of misinformation. But as conservative as I sound, typically, I will say this: I am all for progression, natural progression. Are you do you have a good grasp of what NFTs are? Because a lot of people don't. They don't know what the fuck it is. They just say
it's okay. So I had my little experience with a blockchain like a few years ago, and let me just tell you something. I was totally ignorant. I was looking at the Ethereum. I was looking through that. I was because I still get like mail listings every now and then, and I really wanted to go like, oh, I can join this and everything. I was joined the what's it called, what's that one? Coinbase.
Crypto coin.
Yeah, Coinbase. Coinbase had different areas and everything. You could basically get the Bitcoin, the Litecoin, and there was some other ones on there. I don't remember, but it was a little stack of everything, and they were just really trying to push that. But then they asked for your social security. They asking for all your personal information. I'm like, oh shoot! And that's when I knew they were going to tax you. I was like, oh fuck, okay. And so I left. So I basically closed that whole account. I did not give my information. The next thing about it, when I was trying to go to the blockchain stuff, I did not know how much energy that shit was using. It took out my data and put a cap on it. I had a data cap.
Oh, so it consumes a lot of
It
consumes a lot of data.
It does a lot of energy. It does. It really does.
Were you like mining or what?
Yeah, I was.
Oh yeah. Well, you're supposed to get a little. You supposed to get what's going on, Ken? You're supposed to get a little piece of that money when you mine.
I didn't get shit.
Well, it's a complicated thing. So
Yeah,
you know the other side of cryptocurrency and NFTs and stuff like that. Ken is a really.
I mean, like it's not just that. I will say this, but also a lot of companies, like everything with Steam and stuff. I think I'm a little concerned about that as well, because that's also like people going to find ways to mine in there. They probably already do, but it might be more common pretty soon. With the gaming issue, is that Square Enix is getting involved and stuff like that. Like I said, it sounds pretty good in paper, but when you really get into it, it's more difficult.
I'm sure when it comes to allowing people, and again, we're still on the services topic here, just for anybody listening.
It is considered a service. If you
it is. It's definitely hand in hand with the service. I'm only saying that occasionally, so if somebody just kind of jumps in and they'll have the understanding of what's happening.
Yeah. But the crypto know more about it, though. I will admit.
Right. Ken, which is TGK, he knows a lot more about it, and he's been giving me some insight in terms of, just regarding what exactly cryptocurrency is. What cryptocurrency and NFTs. And the way that I see it, the reason why developers are so fucking like hot for this is because it increases engagement. So and that's the thing though. But here's the example that he gave me. Let's say that you were playing like what's one of your favorite games? That's multiplayer, if any.
I don't really have one, but I used to play a lot of Destiny.
Destiny, perfect. That's perfect. So, for instance, Destiny, right? Regarding Destiny, let's say that you worked your ass off, right? Your team worked their asses off, and you become number one, and they'll give you either a skin or an item, a digital item. Now, no one else for that is created for that particular competition. Once you have it, that's yours for as long as that digital piece exists. What you can do within blockchains and just the crypto side of things is if somebody wanted to do this, and mind you, this is not a new thing. People have been doing this shit for a while, especially when you play World of Warcraft and EverQuest and stuff like that, where you basically sell accounts that are OP. You know what I'm saying? Just so people can like literally just jump into a game or whoop somebody's ass, whatever the case is. But they'll give you an item. Let's say it's a skin. Let's say it's the yaoi that you watch a lot, like a yaoi skin. I forgot. You thought wrong. Hector, what's going on?
Wow. Anyway, go ahead.
So let's say they give you a skin, you're able to sell it to somebody, whether it be outside of the game or not, I'm not sure. And this is something that's still new. But let's say that it gives you incentive for grinding in games, essentially, because they'll give you an item and you can sell that shit and get that money. I don't know how the conversion will work from Bitcoin or from cryptocurrency back to cash. I'm not exactly sure.
I have a question, Josh.
Yeah, it was good.
What fed?
Thanks, John. Would that aspect somewhat work if they managed to figure out a way to allow us to resell our digital games?
No, actually, because
they could do it, but they're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it. They're still taking. Okay, so far as I know, I think Konami just made a really good point. What they're doing right now, they're going to the whole crypto. They're doing the whole NFTs, right? And they have some of the games on there. Now, when people were pointing out, you do not own it. Yeah, you could trade it, but it's not your property. Konami still has their hands in that shit. So it's technically not yours. So you put on your money for something, you're just borrowing it from the company that you're not really.
No, I get that part. I get that part. Yeah.
Here's the thing: it's still new, and the rules of engagement is different between all of anybody that's creating the thing. So for Konami's sake, that's how they want to handle it. Whether it be successful or not is them. Somebody mentioned when I was having this conversation before, maybe they can have a unique color that could extend outwards of the game. So let's say we're talking about Ubisoft Plus or whatever the fuck it is. Let's say that you get a Watchdog skin, like the little face mask or whatever, especially with the mask that people are wearing. Let's say you get that.
Okay.
Every single game that's under Ubisoft, you'll be able to use. They'll have that digital piece that you'll be able to use for every character. However way they want to make that work, or color, or whatever the case is, right? And it'd be up to you to actually be able to have rights to that specific item, and you could sell it. But once you sell it, it's no longer yours. It's a unique piece of content. So that's what's going on there. In terms of services, getting back to that, directly to services. I mean, you make a really good point, Tron, like a really, really good point, because honestly, I really think there's going to be a level of oversaturation. And I was always wondering that too. Microsoft is buying a whole bunch of developers to fuel to bolster their service. Sony is also doing the same thing, but you only have so many people, you know what I mean, within a gaming space, especially console gaming space.
I kind of feel a little bit indifferent also because you got Nintendo and they doing extremely well, and they don't need all that services like talk. They do have their service, but it's just not as big as Sony and Microsoft. So it's kind of like,
could they do better?
Hard to really say what works.
Absolutely.
It depends on. It depends on the company. It's like you said, Microsoft is trying this, Game Pass out, see how it works. It works okay, but they still are not in the numbers that they're looking for. So they're hoping to put more stuff on, like you said, children to get involved. For parents, probably for their kids. But I asked a relative that does have an Xbox and everything. I said, hey, you going to get Game Pass and everything? He said, hell no, I'm not going to get Game Pass. What
was his reason?
What that for?
No,
he feel like it's a waste of money. To him, it's a waste of money.
Well, it only is a waste of money because of the games that's under there. So let's say Sony does that, right? I'm not saying that they will. And it doesn't look like they're doing day and day. Like I said before, I think Microsoft is the only one that's really focusing on day and date anyway. But let's say, for argument's sake, they do day and date.
Yeah.
And you'll buy PlayStation Spartacus. Josh, can you ask Tron what the term NFT stands for?
Oh,
I don't think she's out.
I'm not really into that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying I'm pretty different.
Concerned. Yeah, she's concerned.
I'm always concerned.
So what does NFT stand for? Natural Fart League?
Natural Fart League.
Is that what it means?
I forgot what it meant. NFTs. Okay. Is
refundable
transaction. Yeah, it's none.
So I don't know what refundable sounds like. It sounds like an edible pastry. Refundables.
Yummy.
For kids. So, mommy, can I have a fungible?
No, fungible.
Sounds tasty as hell, man.
It sounds pretty damn tasty. I don't know what a fungible is. That sounds weird, but
let me go to here and look more about it because, like I said, it's complicated for me because I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know much about it until I joined it, and I'm just like, I'm done. When my when my internet day was gone, I was like, nope, I ain't doing this.
You talking about fucking going down a rabbit hole, man? I was like, what the fuck? Because there's a whole like system that's going on. I don't feel like it's a threat necessarily. I think that it's supposed to be. It's
the people who are abusing it. It's going to make it to a threat. That's the problem. People will abuse it.
Right, and that would be a big issue. So yeah, if people are abusing it or deliberately making these games that are catering to you to grind and so badly just to get these 9 fungible transactions or whatever the case is, then you could change the whole like dynamic of the gameplay just in favor. Because look at microtransactions. It used to be harmless. Okay, you can just buy a skin, and now it's deliberately forcing you. Mm-hmm. It's changing the way that you play. It's changing the way that people play because of it.
Now it's battle passes.
He says it stands for non-refundable. Token. Non-refundable token. So these items are considered tokens, essentially, is what he's referring to. So it's not a transaction. It's an item. And then looking at non-fungible, that shit looks like fungus.
It looks sus, doesn't it?
That looks mad sussy, yo.
Like you could tell, like right now, I could start my own like cryptocurrency for using. I could start my own what do you call it? A Monzo. I'm surprised there's no Monzo crypto.
So yes, Josh.
Yeah.
I had posted an image in your chat. That one? Is in the PlayStation Culture chat. It is basically a layout of all these first-party studios from Sony laying out their what they're currently working on, as far as whether it be their next project is multiplayer or a new IP or something that they're like has already been announced or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
And one of the things that really kind of made me go, huh, was the new company that they recently bought, the Fire Sprite company, right?
Oh yeah.
And one of the projects that's listed on there, man, was a project that is connected with Star Citizen. So they got me thinking. I'm wondering if that's a VR title that they're working on for VR2. I think it is, man.
No, from my understanding, because the VR game that they're referring to is already been announced. By the way,
the Horizon Call.
Nigga, if you want to talk about it, instead of you giving me a full page letter, why don't you come up in the fucking chat? He says fungibility just means something that looks alike. Non-fungible just means something that looks nothing like anything else. That is saying a whole bunch of nothing. As always, thank you.
Yeah, that is
pretty much contribution.
Yo, Josh.
So it's something, but it's nothing, but something that's nothing.
You see, now that you see it in chat and you put it in real terms, look how crazy that shit looks. So when I don't know what the fuck you talking about, this is the type of shit that I'm talking about. Fungibility just means something that looks alike. Non-fungible just means something that looks nothing like anything else. I'm not coming at you, but that's going to be confusing. You're going to have to provide some examples as to what that means in the context of crypto.
So if I went and bought myself a Big Mac and then I decide not to eat it, but I decide to sell it to a friend of mine for like fucking bunch of Bitcoins and shit, wouldn't that be considered an actual NFT?
Yes.
No, NFTs are by that definition, yes. But NFTs.
Okay, I was going to say because I bought the product.
That's what I mean. Fine. You open up a can of worms being so fucking cryptic. I know it's crypto, but damn. Anyway.
Yes. But it's all. But here's the thing: it's all not. It's like I said. There's always good sides and bad sides to everything. But my thing is, It's just that it shouldn't be in the gaming space because these companies are already getting money. And most of the people who are doing this is trying to get more rich. And also, they're trying to go past the taxing. So you can't tax cryptocurrency.
No, of course, yeah.
No, I mean,
at least not yet, but it's not government owned. So, yeah. Like,
he said, he said, I'm driving the camera now. Okay, cool. So here's the thing, though. I don't mind anybody, getting their hustle on. I'm not even against that. Like, not even a little bit.
I do also have to say there's also a big issue right now with we're going through a tangent. I do apologize. The only thing I can say right now, also, your artwork is being used as well. So if you guys start drawing and your stuff is on their website, be in mind, you better start licensing your stuff. Get that shit taken down.
Somebody said that you used to take pictures. I've seen this online. I just look up a whole bunch of stupid ass shit, by the way. I just feed my brain. But like they said that basically they uploaded pictures to Getty Pictures or whatever the fuck it is. And they did it for free. And Getty actually traced the person down that was using or that was sending the pictures and tried to sue her for using a picture that she didn't own because she was just giving it away. I was like, what the fuck? And she made it though. Like, how'd that work?
Yeah.
These legal shits be crazy. They could do a whole bunch of flippity floppity.
That's why I said there's going to be.
And you got to be careful about the legal system because, again, the legal system's so, like, for instance, this is a complete different tangent. I'll go back to the services and I want to ask you a couple of questions. Fine. The gentleman that was driving a tractor trailer and killed 4 people, right? Oof. By mistake, he was distraught. Like, this dude is permanently damaged. Like, he was okay physically, but mentally he is fucked. The reason why I bring that up is because the legal system says, oh, well, they can't be served. What's the word I'm looking for? Altogether. It's a different word, but they can't. All of the violations can't be all together, and they had to be served consecutively. So it ended up, by law, he had to fucking serve 110 years in prison because, and I'm like, it was a fucking accident. So
is that the one in Colorado?
Yeah, dude. Yep.
Yeah, I was like, that is so.
And the judge stood up with a fucking straight ass face and was like, I wish I could do something about it, but the law says that you got to serve these consecutively, and this is what it adds up to.
No, he could always alter that.
I know. You know what it was? The guy was Mexican, I guess, or whatever. And I think the judge he may have eaten a bad burrito and had the shits that evening or right before, and he was not feeling it. He was like, "You motherfucker, you did this to my stomach. I had explosive diarrhea 110 years." So they reduced it though.
Wow. That is fucked up, man.
They reduced it to 10 years though. So I don't think he should have gotten that. I think he should just get probation, but who knows? Because it was an accident. He clearly he was extremely remorseful. But anyway, going back to the services, right? Mm-hmm. The question that I have for you, Trine, is let's just say if they did for Sony, right? Mm-hmm. Make everything day and date. Because you mentioned the person said, fuck that, I'm not getting Game Pass because it's a waste of money. But let's say you
that wasn't me. That wasn't me. That was my uncle.
I know. Yeah. But let's say with that, you get Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo, all of the exclusive day and date. Wouldn't that change things up? Especially since Sony is focusing on quality. Wouldn't that kind of like change the whole game?
For me?
For just people in general. If the quality is there, then I think it changes things.
If you like Game Pass or something or any type of service just like that, and then Sony does the same thing, they're gonna go for it because it's cheaper.
Yeah, it is. It makes sense
cheaper for them.
It makes sense too. Adam, what's going on, bro? If you want to jump in the conversation, I mean, I don't care what you do. You can listen or jump in. But yeah, what's going on? Let's make it. I think he was changing his picture. Stranded Ninja, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm still, like I said, I'm still learning. Don't I know people that say, "Oh, she don't know what she talking about cryptocurrency." Blah blah blah. But
A lot of people don't
I'm still
know.
learning
A lot of
myself.
people don't know, and people want to get outraged immediately and don't quite know what it is. It's going to change. It's going to change the landscape of gaming in terms of cryptocurrency. Say it really works. It's going to change how games are being made. So if you like these traditional ways of just popping in the game and calling it a day, it could very well change it, which is the danger. But okay, so going back to the services, let's say you don't have the budget. I mean, wouldn't that mean that it would be that's the no brainer? Or do you want to, or do you want to, for you personally, or do you want to support your developers? They're working hard. You know, they're going crazy with this.
I usually just I always been physical, so I was kind of into the digital phase, but then I start noticing that physicals were just a lot better because hey, I could I feel like I could have that disc in my hand, where is digitals is good too, but it's just I think it's just more digital. It's going to be more. I feel like it's being more control. In my opinion, you could price it any way you want. You could remove it without telling people. You could do all kinds of stuff.
They got a limit They got a limit by law with how far they could take that shit. So the reason why I did digital, and it was not by choice, because I would normally I'm not one of those zealots like fight the power. It was just like I needed to save space on my hard drive. Is the reason why I was going physical. And what they started doing, especially with the PS4 and the Xbox One era, they started to save all of the whole fucking game on a hard drive. And I was like, well, what the fuck is the point? This fucking disc is a fucking key. Like, I'm not even beat for that shit. So I was like, I might as well just put this fucking game on there. But really what was the final nail in the coffin is that there's a lot of PS2 games that they don't work anymore. Contrary to belief. I mean, I didn't take the best care of it, but it wasn't like I was just throwing it against the wall either. I try to pop in. I have the first copies of Vice City. There are some missions that were removed from Vice City due to, people that were they didn't like being represented that way, the Haitians. So in that regard, who is that joined in there? I can't see who that is. I guess he just popped in there. It's Adam. But he left out of here. I guess he just wanted to take a peek.
No, Adam's still there. Adam's still there.
Is he?
Yeah, it was another guy. I don't know who that was, but it was another guy that was in here.
Adam ain't there no more. Not Adam. No, there was a different Adam.
Oh, I'm looking at Adam. Okay.
The developer, not that one. Yeah, so I think his name is Adam. Alex, I think it was not Adam. It was Alex.
Oh, Alex, okay.
Nigga, you think I didn't see him looking? Nigga came in there and left. He was, oh shit. They talking about fungi, non-fungi and shit. He was like, oh, that's how I'm gonna make my money. He actually was responsible for Riders Republic, which we had a conversation last week. I really liked that game.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, so he gave me some insight on what was going on, and then I started talking about it.
I do have another question, and I gotta go. I got to leave pretty soon. But do you guys feel like there's this whole thing where we have like the whole thing, like I just heard about Ubisoft having to do with Xbox and for it's just another subscription service, right? But
Yeah,
that's why I actually did. That's why I made. I don't know, and I was going to ask Fatal this too. I think I know where you're going because this is the reason why the subject even exists. If it's separate, is it separate cost, Fatal?
What?
Yeah.
The Ubisoft Plus and Game Pass?
Yeah, they're separate. Yeah, they're separate.
So wait, what?
Yeah, it's this. Okay, remember when Game Pass first came around? EA Play fucking was separate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It took a few years before EA ended up coming on board to be like part of the actual package deal for Ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
Uplay is doing the exact same thing. They're going to go solo for a while on the console, and then if they fucking don't see it working too well, then they might make a deal with Ubisoft.
Oh, so you got to pay for both of those things. Oh, so it's conflict of interest. That is such a horrible. That's such a horrible model. Burger King. I know you don't get as much sales as us McDonald's. Why don't you go and you get something. Maybe they don't want a Big Mac. Maybe they want your tenders, your chicken nuggets. So,
as far as I know, people saying that the one for EA, they're old games. They're not new ones.
Oh no, we were going over that shit too. They're not even day and date. They're select and they're old. So if it's not conducive to their model, they're not getting it. And this is what I went over this, and obviously, trying to have the YouTube channel. I've mentioned all this shit in the beginning before you got in there. I'm like, jeez, because I wanted to see what was going on. And don't forget either.
That also kind of says a lot about these companies. So is it like I said, is it worth just going out and just buy the game brand new, or just wait for a subscription service just to pop it in for you? Just put it in there so you can play it for a few months and then it leaves.
See, I think what's going to happen is that it's going to cause too much fragmentation for it to really be viable. You're going to get people, truthfully, that want the service because they have a greedy ass kid looking for fungibles and shit like that.
Fungibles. That's what I'm going to call those. That's what I'm going to call those now, fungibles.
You're gonna get those kids, and they're gonna be like, it's gonna be easier for them to get those things, to try different games out. Since they're trying the different games out because they're bored and have ADD, they're going to end up either. Well, shit, I got ADD too. What's up?
What kind of you?
Look how long this topic is, man. I can't stay on focus. My life depends on it.
I did.
I started talking about services and talking about fungibles now. So there's that.
Let's talk about some fungibles, man.
So, but yeah, I think that's again, they're gonna have to service for the kids or people that just don't have the money. You know what I mean? And for the traditional people, there's going to be that demographic as well that's willing to pay for the $70. But here's the thing. If you do place these games, and I always say this, including for Game Pass, if you do place these games day and date with a service that's $15, what's going to happen is that human nature is going to kick in, and people are not going to work hard for the games because they were like, well, I got a safety net. Fuck this shit. I can just lay back on this safety net and my game could be a piece of shit. And you buy it because guess what? It's just $15. You know what I'm saying? No one's going to, because they're safe, work harder. That doesn't work in humanity. You know what I'm saying?
But there's also a downfall with that aspect too as well, because from the developer perspective, they're also selling that game on the same platform to that of which the service is available to as well.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they're kind of like trying to have their cake and eat it. There's EA that says select games and older games, and then you have Ubisoft that seems like they're doing a little bit newer. It's not quite clear as to what they're doing. And then Sony has their Spartacus.
Well, I like EA, for example, right? Because I see how EA Play works every month and shit like that. So what happens is, like, for example, when did the Mass Effect trilogy get re-released again, like the Legendary Edition there?
Let's just say,
half a year ago?
Let's say like 6 months ago. Yeah, let's just say 6 months ago.
Okay, so that's now available for anybody to download on EA Play. It's like that, they literally put that motherfucker in the vault. And like the 10-hour access, stuff like that. Like, for example, they did that with Battlefield 2042, which I downloaded the 10-hour trial. Glad that I didn't buy it. FIFA had like the newest FIFA, the newest hockey game, like pretty much basically any of the newer IPs that EA will release. Usually will give players like a 10-hour trial that you can try out for that said game. Brand spanking new.
And that's what I wanted to. Kind of cool, but. And that's what I wanted to kind of say too, because at the same time, you have that safety net, and people don't want to exhaust that safety net. But then you also are putting shit on the platform that could be shit. And I've already had a conversation about people's standards dropping over time. People listen to horrible music nowadays, watch horrible movies, and say that it's fucking great. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind it. It's okay. Type of shit. To me, that sounds really retarded to me. So who knows? I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. But looking at this shit as a whole, I'm not really. You adequately put the shit. It's saturated.
Is it?
To me, it will be. It will be because Sony's going to come up with something too. That's probably going to be more along the lines of what EA is doing.
That's what I'm thinking too.
So
it's going to be something. Yeah.
It's going to be something along the lines of that. So you got Sony, EA, you got fucking Game Pass, you got Ubisoft, and eventually it's just like.
So possibly Nintendo probably will start doing that too, because I'm hearing more digital is coming on the Switch when they bring it to the US.
See, what Nintendo would do is that they would offer a 40-year-old game for $20 a month. That shit gonna be old. That shit gonna be old as fuck, man. Like it's gonna be an old game. Like, relive your childhood when you played Pong in the 80s.
Nah, dude.
$20 a year, or $20 a month.
I don't think I would be feeling that. I'm not gonna play.
Well, Nintendo can get away with it. I don't know how they will.
You mean with a console that? You mean the one that came out in the late 80s? Oh, God. Do I want to play a game from that era? No, I'm good.
They be like, you remember when you were a kid and you played your first round of Duck Hunt? Well, Pepperidge Farm remembers too. And Nintendo remembers you can play.
Chill, Josh, chill.
Okay, no. If they can't bring me back that old school gun back from the Super NES or the one from the the NES, come on. They removed that feature. Okay, they removed that item, that accessory. They don't have that gun anymore.
They could have easily remade that fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it was easy. It was easy to shoot.
It was. But maybe they're going to VR and revamp it. But I guess I've exhausted the services topic for today. But it does lean into. Enough of the Nintendo slander. Nigga, I'm right.
I love Nintendo, so I'm a Nintendo fan just as much as Sony. Grew up with both of them.
I've never liked Nintendo, to be honest. I like their games, but I never liked Nintendo. And
no
now
slander.
No slander. No, I'm so glad that I'm vindicated. Like looking at this shit. And seeing what Nintendo is doing, I was like, I knew them niggas was up to no good, man. This whole time, it's wholesome, Yahoo, and all the other shit. I ain't falling for that shit.
Oh God! But come on, I'm just looking at this Mario versus Rabbids game that I was looking at. It was actually look interesting. So
see, that's the shit.
Shut up.
You fall right into the trap. You fell to the trap card. And they was like, come on, tribe. It's time to do.
Listen. It's the only time I can play. It's the only time I can literally get into Mario Galaxy. This version.
I'm just saying. But what do you say again? Enjoying my space. Oh, he liked it. Okay, cool. So the thing that I wanted to actually speak on, because we dangerous gaming narratives. And so I know it's called something else within the spaces or whatever the case is, but dangerous gaming narratives is something that you definitely need to watch out for. And I'm going to list some dangerous narratives. We're going to talk about it. I feel this was inspired by the Days Gone debacle. You know what I mean? You had Jeff was all in his feelings, like Drake style, when he saw that Sony literally was like, yo, congratulations, Ghost of Tsushima, for making $8 million. He was like, motherfuckers, motherfucker lost his fucking mind. So he went on Twitter and was like, I remember when I sold 8 million and Sony act like they didn't see that shit. What happened? So and everybody was like, oh, what do you mean by that? They was like, well, they made it look like we were a failure. And I have to agree, the fanboy in me has to agree with Sony. Why do you say? I always got something to back it up. I got my shit to back it up. I want you to think about it. What is one of the most hottest titles or hottest genres in gaming? That's like almost a surefire hit.
Anything with zombies?
Yes. That's why people keep doing it. It's a surefire hit. The Last of Us was out there, which they still haven't released the numbers for that. And but I don't think that shit did as well as people thought. And I mentioned that to people. They were like, you know what? I'm going you come back to me in a year and they're going to say that they sold 15 million. Sony's won over everybody but them. So it makes me wonder that shit didn't do so well because of the decisions that they made. Let's put it that way. So that being said, it's a zombie game, right? And it's an open world game on top of it. So you got fucking 2 positives. That game was supposed to sell 15 million. That's the number that they were probably looking for. Mm-hmm. And Ghost of Tsushima, let's not get it fucked up. That is a very niche type of game. No game is really like it quite. It's its own little thing. Number one. Number two, it's not doing anything flashy in terms of zombies or, anything. It's not Assassin's Creed. It's a new IP, and it's talking about Japanese culture. And it's like, is that really going to sell to the Americans or worldwide? Is it even going to sell in Japan? Because they're not even Japanese. And somehow, with all the odds against them, they end up selling 8 million. So that's the reason why. Huh?
The game was actually popular in Japan. They loved it.
No one understood. I mean, quality is quality. So people can kind of sense that shit. It's like when you listen to Billie Jean, you be like, oh shit, that's a good song. But like, even Fado was listening to that shit one time. I caught him listening to Billie Jean. He was doing the whole Michael Jackson hiccups and shit.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
He was like, in 40 days and for 40 nights, that was all the time.
But grabbing my balls and shit and everything, bro. He was. Yeah, man. I was going in. I was going to town.
Try and mention what earlier? Oh, you talking about the rabbits? Yeah. She did like it. No. But it was popular in Japan. That shit was, it was surprisingly popular in Japan. I couldn't believe this shit. They were very humble and stuff like that. Japan just liked their swag. What they did with Ghost of Tsushima, there were no political SJW, no check boxes. They just did what they did. They respected the entirety of the Japanese culture and they put it out there. There were no check boxes. There were nothing of that nature. And I think the Japanese respected that. They didn't try to throw anything in there and call it a day. It wasn't even anime. Like, it was just like, it was this own weird thing and it got successful. Now, Days Gone, there was 2 things that was wrong with it. It was going to be in development hell. That's what people didn't really say. Ben Studios didn't say. They were having a lot of issues with that game. One, because this was their first time making open world. And Sucker Punch, they made a couple of different open world games. So there's that, right? Ben Studios, although an amazing feat, they had to literally learn how to just do open world games all together, which is why it's a little rough around the edges. But then again, you got Guerrilla Games that went from mediocre shooters to like Horizon Zero Dawn, which is an open world game with complete with decent. You know what I'm saying? They just focused on what they could do and they kept it moving. So yeah.
I think that's pretty much where open, but you also got to think about that was going to be a Vita game. Days Gone was going to be a Vita. Yeah, it was Vita.
I've never heard of it. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it was.
I heard they were going to make an open world Uncharted game, and that was turned down.
Well, they were. Well, yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'll actually probably play it. But here's the thing. But here's the problem with the whole thing with the Days Gone. Yeah, it was supposed to be a Vita game, so it had to make it towards that's where they had to switch it to a more bigger console. So I could see development hell with that one because you had to
already. They are not the same consoles at all.
They had to. I could see them trying to go through hell doing that, switch one to another. So they probably had to sacrifice a lot of stuff just to make it.
And let's not forget, it's a fucking like open worlds are popping right now. As much as people say open world fatigue, I'm so tired of it. It's the same old thing, man.
It is the same old thing. Sometimes.
It is, but it keeps getting purchased though. So who's doing it? Somebody's doing it. So people like open world games, and you mix that shit up with zombies, and you mix it up with the fucking the shtick, which is those hordes. Or like fatal.
Let's not bring that up.
No.
Let's not bring that up.
God, I couldn't even say it. Damn, let nigga speak. You gotta call me too fast. Yeah. Call me too damn fast. Shit. Damn. Anyway. And the game did 8 million. And then what really happened is that the game was a good game. It was a great game. It had bugs, and then the media ripped it the fuck apart. They said it was. They were asking dumbass questions that have no business. Why aren't there like black zombies? Like, huh?
No, they said why there's no black zombies. Why are those zombies white? I was that's
what I'm saying. Like, what is that? Oh, and it's just a flagrant disrespect of him calling his wife old lady. Like, who does he think he is? How dare you? Like, it was just so much shit.
She didn't. Here's the thing. She didn't play it. The person who did that didn't even play the game, because I play it, and a lot of stuff they were saying was not even in the game.
It was from Sons of Anarchy. Like they were heavily inspired by that show, and so it was like that show could do it, but not this game. And then on top of that, like I gave a big post to Jeff Ross, which is the producer over there, and he didn't say anything to that post. He liked the other one, but he didn't say anything to that post. And I know he saw that shit. Was like, I can't say too much because I don't want to burn my bridges like that. But I do want Sony to understand that shit was some fuck nigga shit. But I get it. You know what I'm saying? They were saying, oh, he's looking Deacon St. John. It's what a stupid name. He's looking at this girl's ass. Turned out that girl was his fucking wife. Okay.
Because that's why I said she didn't play it. She just thought he was just looking at some girl's butt. I'm like, she was bending over and she was pretty much doing that to get his attention. And he was trying to look away.
and then they literally quoted something that was on Sons of Anarchy, where he was like, she was like, I hope Deacon rides her as hard as he rides his bike. And they were like, oh, what a misogynistic title. Oh my God. And it was funny because the way that they did things, technically the game should have done well, according to like liberal people, SJW people. They had LGBT in the game. You know what I'm saying? What's her name? Ricky. What's that? Ricky? What is it?
I can't remember her name.
The Indian girl.
Oh, her.
Yeah, she was bisexual, and the black girl was fucking a whole lesbian, and and they had that in there. You know what I mean? They were like, it's not that many black people in the game. Well, it's fucking Oregon. Yeah, there's not many black people there either. The fuck?
And it's strange because there are, the strangest thing about it is just I will say the only thing I had a big problem. Yes, the characters are definitely cut and paste design. There's a lot of that in that game. But then I started liking, I started liking the characters. After a while, you start liking them because you understand what their objective is. You understand their personality and what they had to go through and what you as a person had to go through to survive in the wilderness in Oregon. And then you start understanding the whole story about like I don't want to spoil it, but then you find out where the zombies originally came from. You're kind of like, oh, I can see there's a total diss in that story.
Hey, the story lumbered around for a while because
it did.
They wanted you to kind of like not, they had an objective, and sometimes just like what's his name, Nolan North, not Nolan North, who's responsible for the Batman movies. Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan? I think so.
I think it was Christopher Nolan. He's a pretty decent what do you call that shit again? He's a what am I looking for? Visionary. He's a visionary. But he made the movie Tenet, and nobody could fucking hear anything on Tenet, yo. Like, for some reason, he was like, I don't want you to really focus on listening to the dialect or the dialogue. I want you to focus on the mood, the ambiance. People was like, nigga, I can't hear. What's happening with the story? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you make something, you gotta kind of consider the audience and how they would feel about it, and you can't. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: when people forget, and now I think the whole gaming community forgets that gaming is an art form. It's a subjective. It can't be critical. You can't do this and that. Just like you go to a museum, you're gonna have the same experience. You're gonna say something about it, about that one painting. It's gonna be a lot of messages. Everyone's gonna have different interpretations of it, but at the same time, it's gonna be judged.
But if you want to make money, see, they're not just paying shit and just putting it on there for free. Like, they're trying to make money.
They're making their money, yeah. Because
so if you want to make the maximum amount of money, you're going to have to concede a couple of things. The same thing happened with Naughty Dog and The Last of Us. Some of the things that they probably shouldn't have done if they wanted to make the most amount of money. Like, if you really didn't, the world is ruled by money. But if you really didn't care about money, you wanted to make it like an art form, probably shouldn't have gone about it the way you did. So, you can't get, yeah.
I don't think that's. I haven't played Last of Us 1 or 2, so it doesn't really matter to me. However, I see different opinions on everybody of how they if they play. When they play it, they had different experience. They said this and that. But at the same time, I think the biggest problem with gaming is also individuals who are against a lot of narratives or stuff like that. Don't go attack the writers, the directors, the voice actors, the actresses, the actors. It's starting to become really more of, you get personal in your feelings when you start going that far.
Well, people nowadays on social media, they can't help themselves but to be really like to have so much venom with the things that they say, whether they mean it or not. Some of these people are fucking assholes on social media. I don't think that they're going to attack the people. But they're so passionate about it. I mean, maybe the way this world is going.
Yeah,
but
that's what I sound towards everyone.
I know,
fucking weirdos.
You're gonna get some weirdos and shit like that. And to be honest with you, look, the internet is a horrible place. And the reason why I brought up that is that Gaming Narrative about, for days gone, they kept saying that it was a terrible game. That was a narrative because it didn't suit their needs, or they were trying to make a statement, or they were trying to get likes and clicks. It ended up fucking that game up. You know what I'm saying? So for anybody that liked it or wanted to kind of take it at face value, they couldn't because there was so much noise around Deacon looking at his wife's ass or white zombies. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Like so dumb. Some of the shit that was going on. And that leads me to the next, not the next, but that leads me to what I wanted to actually talk about. So some of the narratives is crunch. That's one of the things I really want to fucking tackle. All these fucking social justice warriors, liberal, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? Those fanatics. Not all liberals are like that, but those ones, you know who you are. That sat there was like, oh my God, let these people, they're like slaves. Oh my God, they are working 60 hours for us. That's terrible. And then you're typing this on the iPhone, for which probably little Chinese slaves made this fucking phone for you. But like, you don't care about that, do you? You know what I mean? What about the people that go into the military and they get their fucking arms blown the fuck off, or they have to work almost 24 fucking hours? You don't care about that though. But the video games, they're fine. Stupid narratives like that is dumb to me. It's dumb. Fredo, you haven't said anything in a while. What you gotta say about these narratives? What's a narrative that's pissing me off?
I try not to pay attention to those narratives because those narratives are fucking retarded. But sometimes they're pretty hard to avoid. especially when you're invested in social media like we all are. So it's kind of difficult to not see a lot of that dumb shit. But when I see it, I definitely ignore it. Like straight up fucking ignore it, dude. Because it's just like, nah, bro, we're not going there.
Well, what's the one that really irritates you the most? Whether you ignore it or not, the one that really is just like, what the fuck?
I don't really know, dude. I don't really have a fucking one that really pisses me off because I ignore the vast majority of them anyways, and I don't see a lot of them. But I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll come back to you on that one, man.
I think I know one that irritates me the most. There was a whole article a few I think it was like a few years ago, and it was talking about what's that game called? Mortal Kombat, and apparently I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't annoying because the situation. It was just annoying that people were taking this as, oh my gosh, they're forced to do this, when technically I will leave my job and they tell me to look at actual real gore just to get the details right of the fatalities. Okay. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, I was looking at this. I was just like, I like I said, I can understand being grossed out. Yeah, that can be triggered. I ain't gonna lie. But at the same time, I look at it's not the jobs where people were complaining about it. It was more of how people were taking it. Like, it went beyond like, yeah, they were looking at corpse and stuff. I said, but we're not there, so I'm not sure what the heck they were looking at. All I know, they could have been looking at medical books. And then they made it sound like they were looking at rotten.com.
Oh, I forgot that website. Oh, dear.
Yes, okay.
Fun fact,
don't go to that website. It's still up. Don't go there.
Fun fact: Naughty Dog actually did that when they made The Last of Us.
Holy shit!
The Last of Us Part 2 in particular. There were a lot of people that left for various reasons, but people don't want to mention that because, oh gosh, my darling, they put a lesbian in the game and I love it, So even though she was already a lesbian from the first one, but whatever. Like, they did that. They did that.
A lot of people are new in the gaming, so when they saw when she kissed that girl, they thought it was just oh my gosh, this is the SJW thing. No, she was lesbian in the first game.
I think it was because
she had a girlfriend.
I think it was because it was, well, in the first games they were friends that was going to become a lesbian, but it was so like in your face. And yesterday I had this crazy conversation about what is social justice warriors or what is woke. And that is, they looking out for injustices and stuff like that. So when things are kind of forced, people kind of low key know it, but they don't know what to say about it. Oh yeah. So Ken says Sony is dead or dying for some unknown reason is a narrative that is very fucking annoying to me. I had to put the fucking on there.
Yeah, that was annoying too.
So that is super fucking irritating. Super irritating. It's dumb. They keep spreading these narratives and shit like that. I'm gonna get back to that one because that's a good kind of conversation to talk about. Another thing is too, right? Gamers are incels.
When I became an incel.
Well, apparently, if you like the game, like for instance, if you like Resident Evil 8, and you were kind of like, wow, like. Lady Dimitrescu has like a crazy ass, like she has crazy curvatures and shit like that, right? That was the fucking problem. You are giving her the male gaze. How dare you?
Wait, hold up. If I recall, I think a lot of women were really turned on by her figure. I mean,
I know. You got to be the right person to be turned on. You can't be a white male. So
what?
I'm being serious.
Wait, what? It was a white male? Wait, hold on.
A lot of guys were making. A lot of people were making mods where she was in a bikini. That was one thing. So the fuck what? It's been like that for decades. But like, even if they kept saying that, she's kind of hot. And whatever the case is, she could eat my neck any day or whatever the case is. They were like, that is so fucking nasty. Like, how dare you?
I see everybody was all supportive of each other on it. I don't know. I never came across anybody like that.
That was just like an example. That was one of the things. But in general, they call people incels because they didn't like the story of The Last of Us Part 2 as well. Project Eve. They say that if you like Project Eve, with the Chinese Devil May Cry type game. If you like the Korean, my bad.
Yeah.
Because I keep thinking China Heroes Project or whatever that Sony's doing.
Yeah, I think you talk about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a Korean game. So they said that basically you are an incel for promoting that. She's scantily dressed, and you're an incel for that too. And we should have moved on. I'm like, but yet you can have muscular fucking men. You don't say anything about that. Like, it's just so ass backwards. There's a couple other ones I want to kind of like list as well before I go with Ken. Yeah.
I find it weird because you have Bayonetta, who is really popular, and no one doesn't. Yeah.
I heard that the game is toned down. Bayonetta 3, it won't be as crazy as the other ones in terms of that, but we'll see. That's something that I don't know if that's going to be a thing. You know what I'm saying? So another thing is too, exclusives don't matter, or they want to put every game on every platform. That's the narrative that people are saying, that exclusives are terrible for the gaming industry.
I don't know anymore what's good. I think, well, like I said before, I don't know what's going on.
So many narratives.
I just been buying games, so I'm good.
Fatal, what you got to say about that? That exclusives are terrible.
What the fuck? Who the fuck is saying that?
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck, man?
Xbox are saying that you need to put God of War.
Well, I don't listen to those fucking fraudulent motherfuckers, dude.
Yeah, they like. I know you have a preference in Xbox, but you ain't never seen no crazy shit.
No.
I'm gonna tell you that. Like, in terms of your game, in terms of the type of games that you like, all of that is subjective. So no one.
It's definitely subjective, man. Like,
but that shit, I'm like, what the fuck? I think they just want to see.
Oh, they were mad. Oh, you talking about when they were mad about the Final Fantasy Online not coming to the Xbox?
That's another thing too. Like, that's another thing too. Microsoft buys Square Enix. Like,
no, why would Square Enix waste their time putting an MMO that's fucking very popular on PC and on PlayStation and put it on Xbox when they're guaranteed to not get any revenue out of that?
Well, they could put it on Game Pass and Microsoft could pay it.
That wouldn't matter. Because, I mean, it wouldn't make sense to put it on Game Pass because you're still going to pay a subscription on top of a subscription. They're not going to do that.
No. Let me tell you the reasons why.
Trust me, if they were going to do that, then they wouldn't put like Fallout 76 and have like that year subscription bullshit there, or that monthly subscription crap they have behind a perk system. Yeah. You put that shit behind a perk system now.
And that's the thing too. And last but not least, before we go to where Ken was actually talking about that fucking ridiculous narrative, NPD sales and Metacritic scores are supposedly that's the narrative that if it rates a high score or sells a lot, that means that it's just awesome fucking quality. Like, it's just, you can do no wrong. And I'm like, there's so many examples of high people being paid to market game as being like a high scored game, or if it sells a lot, you got Call of Duty and that quality has been fucking taking a swine dive every fucking iteration for the past couple of years.
Facts.
Because it's oversaturated, you know what I'm saying? But you see that a lot. I'm glad, Ken, you mentioned that one, because I was scratching my head as trying to think of what is an actual, like, really good talking point. There are people out there that really believe that Sony is in dire need to do something, which they never really specify as to what Sony needs to do, other than, put their games day and date on the fucking service. You know what I'm saying? So since they're not going to do it, Sony is not doing well. Or, Sony just doesn't have what it takes to do well, despite the fact that they are the market leader in terms of, like, success, revenue, and sales wise. But, we digress. What do you guys say about that, Tron? Have you seen that narrative floating around?
Which one? So many of them right now.
Sony is dead or dying.
Oh, I hear that all the time. I just leave it alone and just walk away.
So, like, what is wrong with people? People just make up their own fucking realities and just be like, "Yep, that's right. That seems about right." What about you, Fado? What do you gotta say about Sony being dead man walking? Especially that one girl. I swear to God, like she was on G4.
Oh yeah, her. Yeah, no, she's talking at her ass, like straight up out of her ass.
Not to mention her again, but let me just as a side note, I swear to God, yo, she looks like a CGI character, yo. Like she looked fake.
Pulled out of Cyberpunk.
Like she looked like one of them NPC, like randomly generated characters. I mean, she took Xbox to a new level. Like I was like, is this bitch real? By the way, yeah, what was gonna say again?
I already said what I gotta say.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things that they were saying. They literally said that PlayStation needs some milk. Apparently, on the flip side, reversing this argument, did Tron leave? I think she left.
Yeah, I think she had to go.
Yeah, she had to leave. On the reverse side, right? They also said that Microsoft is extremely successful right now. Now, I know you favor Microsoft. I get it. And I'm not gonna, it is what it is. I know that you favor it. But where do you think that shit comes from?
Dumbasses.
Oh, well,
I mean, like, how else am I supposed to describe it? I mean, I don't pay attention to the numbers. I'm not going to sit there and tell you numbers that I just pull out of my ass like a lot of these motherfuckers do. Like, until I see concrete evidence of one of these companies coming out and giving out efficient numbers from their own mouths, then I'll fucking believe that shit. But until then, like, we have nothing to go based on outside from what player counts on Steam. Like, even that itself is not even an accurate picture, man, of people still playing said game or whatever the case would be.
So if you're on YouTube, here's another fucking narrative. He said,
I think I see where you're going with this. I think
there's another narrative, right? Since we were on the topic, what's going on, Umar? Since we were on the topic of, let me see if the sound is okay. If I move it, yep, it works. So, someone said that Days Gone is better than Horizon Zero Dawn. You see these ridiculous narratives that people just squeeze out their ass cheeks, little nuggets of shit that comes between the cracks of their asses.
And yet it's don't you find it rather more interesting, even given the fact that where were these people saying this when the game originally came out? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found.
But you know what? The same thing happened with Gravity Rush.
Yep.
Everybody sat there and was just like, why did Sony close down the fucking Japan studios as well? Oh, another thing too. That's another narrative, by the way. One of the other narratives was Sony forsaking their Japanese heritage, similar to how light-skinned people don't claim to be black. So you had that situation, right? They said that Sony isn't Japanese anymore, and it's ran by a whole bunch of white people, and they lost their Japanese way, and they totally don't like this crazy fucking narratives, man. Like I like, this is not a topic to really discuss, but just to kind of highlight ridiculous narratives such as this Days Gone one. Like, the fuck?
Right.
Where were you when I was looking for a fucking sequel, especially the way it had a cliffhanger at the end? I'm going to tell you right now, there were a lot of holes in that story. Yo, what's going on? What's going on, Sheree? I keep wanting to call him Comrade for some reason. Fatal Comrade. Fatal Sheree. I don't know why. Like, I see those combination. Yeah, Sheree. And those, bro, you're a cool breeze from being light skinned.
Is that true, Josh?
But yeah, you got, but you got like these crazy fucking, like I can just go on and on, like this stuff that people say is like,
and you know what pisses me off the most about that though is the fact that it seems like at least either if not every day, at least once a week, the narrative gets changed to something that doesn't make any fucking sense, lesser sense than the previous one. Like freaking weird, man.
Some of the things that they say is just like, what the fuck? There was this one girl, I wish I would have saved what the fuck she said. It was so fucking ridiculous, man. I was like, what the fuck is she talking about? Like, she literally went online to make a fucking argument. Like, she literally was like, I'm just going to argue. That's just what I'm going to do.
That's what some people do. And I think a lot of people do that and pretend to be in that gaming space, but only are there just to like, to take the piss out of people and shit, dude. That's all it really is. I mean, look at the console war.
Okay.
Like if you really pay attention to like the way the console war is, and I'm like me being like heavily invested within that ecosystem, if you want to call it that, or foreign system, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's dude, you're definitely going to hear, and you're definitely going to see a lot of fucked up shit that people will say, and that people will do, like next level retardation shit. And it's like, nah, bro, like that's like, okay, put it this way, Josh, the other, like before the incident happened with the roundtable shit, right? There was a guy.
I didn't hear what happened with the roundtable stuff.
Oh no, it was. I got my feels about Halo. I got my feels about Halo Infinite, and I was kind of like fucking screaming at Thrash and Royal and shit, dude. And I bailed off the fucking podcast, and I left the actual Discord server too as well. And I should not have done that. Because the chat didn't do nothing. The chat did absolutely nothing, so I had no reason to rage quit the server like that.
But what did what did they say? That's what I want to figure out.
It was a plethora of things that it was like a train wreck or a domino effect, if you want to call it that. It was like one thing after another, and I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. You know what I mean? My feels got to me, dog. Like, but in the worst kind of possible scenario.
What was it?
It was just little things, like little uninformed things that like Royal, for example, he brought up the fact about like, or not Royal, Thrash brought up about the grunts and the elites, how they fear, like, you know what I mean? If they're on the verge of dying or whatever the case would be in Halo. And that's been something that's been canon and lore wise and also been part of the franchise since the get go. You know what I mean? And I was trying to explain that, but they just weren't having it. You know what I mean? So shit like that kind of irritated me a little bit.
They basically didn't know. They didn't know that the grunts were they're little chicken shits that they only attack you. They only attack you if they have opportunity. They're opportunists.
Exactly. Yeah. But at the same time, fucking like that's what started it, and then it got worse and worse as time went on. And like, even though like strictly on me to blame, because that's like nobody's at fault here. I should have just kept my mouth shut and just said nothing. You know what I mean? Because that's normally what I do when I'm on the show.
What should have happened, now that we're speaking on it, since you're bringing it up, I haven't heard of it at all. But since you are bringing it up, here's keep your fucking emotions in check.
Right, yeah.
And I say this, right? Because I don't think you should have shut up. I think you should have, when people
not use the tone that I was using.
No, fuck that shit. We grown ass men. No, like you can't get butthurt for some fucking tone. Like that's,
yeah, well, that's what I mean. That's why Thrash was never mad at me or any of that kind of, like, he wasn't like at first, but like it was like not like a long time thing. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like the one thing that I did have to apologize to him for was that I called him a liar, because I was talking about when he made the reference to Halo being that graphical showcase, and which it never was until Halo 4 and Halo 5 dropped. When 343 took over, they started going more towards the graphical fidelity aspect.
So I'm going to have to correct that one, because I have an avid friend, I guess, an avid friend or avid Halo fan, and you almost left all your peeps for a doggy doo-doo game. That's what Ken said.
No. I didn't. No. We're fine. Like nothing. There was no falling out. There was nothing. It was just me.
No, I know. But Fatal Sharad is in here, and he's saying that you shouldn't never backpedal, and I agree with him. The reason why,
that's what I should have done. I should have stood my ground. That's what I should have did.
But
I pussied out like a bitch.
But here's the thing, because you don't want to be bothered with.
Yeah.
See, and I'm going to talk about that shit too. It's in the next topic, and you don't need to speak on it or anything like that. But I'm gonna.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind. I know. I know
every time I go to my last topic, everybody disappears. That's cool. So I was like, I need to adapt. So I'm just going to be doing the talking or whatever the case is. Just give you some thought provoking shit. But when people are outnumbered in the argument, that is the first thing that people will do. They do not double down. They're like, shit, I can't take this many people coming at me. Like when everybody knows me, I don't like The Last of Us. And everybody I can't believe what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? And I'm like, well, the fucking story that they made with the fucking fungus, you don't give a vaccine to a fungus that's for viruses. Well, it's just a game. So everybody was just, and it was just like, even there was so many holes in the story. You just didn't understand the complication. No, it wasn't that complicated. When the thing is, when you ever, and I'm just telling you this, if you're ever met with opposition, give these motherfuckers facts. Punch them in the fucking liver with facts.
That's what I was trying to do, but I was doing it.
But all you gotta do is take a deep breath. Say, "May I speak? May I speak?
Yeah.
Can I speak?
Yep.
Please don't cut me off while I'm saying this. You can have your time to do whatever you need to do after I explain myself. That's the adult thing to do, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Go on with the story. Okay. I just want to make sure that's out there. Yeah, come on, fuck that. Go say it. All right, cool. In the first Halo, there were different AI archetypes. And the grunt was the one that was an opportunist. They were the ones that would take the 2 sticky bombs and run at you and try to blow you the fuck up. And if you came at them with fucking opposing force, they would run away. That is normal. Like, I don't know the whole sentiment of the rest of the argument, right? But I do know that portion, right? That's what you would do and say that you can check this out. As a matter of fact, since they already have the Halo collection, let me go ahead and DM you, Thrash, from beginning to end. That is a staple in the Halo series. How can you, no one can argue with that. See, that's the thing. A lot of people, and nowadays, even with me, a lot of men are very emotional nowadays, like super fucking emotional. They can't have a good conversation. That is not a masculine trait, period. But here we are, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying this for myself too. I remember I got super fucking mad at what's his name? Royal. It was like 4 years ago, yo. I was like, yo, what the fuck? You always fucking talking too much. It was really extra. And being in a situation where it's not, and I needed that. I needed to have like a unconventional, casual setting because I worked at the time at the bank. I sucked at fucking controlling my emotions. I was so used to being coddled in that setting.
Right.
But me and Royal, we patched that shit, and that was the end of it. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what me and Thrash did too as well. Like immediately, when I bailed and pussied out on the server and shit like that, dude. Like I immediately went to fucking Twitter. I had like literally 5 minutes. I had a smoke. I went over to Twitter and I fucking DM'd Thrash. I'm like, listen, I'm sorry for calling you a liar. I said I got my feels, that kind of shit like that. And like literally 2 minutes later, he's like, don't worry about it, dude.
That is Thrash. But one of the things is this: when you make an ass of yourself, man, it is very hard to retcon that shit. You know what I'm saying?
It definitely is. But the thing of it is, man, it's like I went to the chat the other day when they were last went live in both chats. Well, not the Discord chat because they already knew when I rejoined it fucking a couple weeks ago. But when I went into the YouTube chat, I publicly stated that I was in the wrong and that I acted like a buffoon and I shouldn't have acted that way and I shouldn't even fucking have used that tone in that way. But the points that I was making across were valid. And it never went to a personal side that a lot of people had thought it was going to go. Because I guarantee you, Josh, I mean, jokes aside about the whole stuff about me and like the racism shit, like I'm sure that there were probably people in that chat room that were probably just itching or waiting for me to snap the fuck out and say some racial shit or personal attacks towards Thrash. No, dog, I don't do that shit.
No, you know what I mean? That's not even. We play around. That's nothing. That's not.
Like if anything, it's only.
Like I joke around about that shit. I joke around. That shit is not.
But you were around when that joke happened, so it makes sense why.
And it wasn't even. It was a mistake. But I will concede that you probably used that fucking word for whatever reason.
Nah, dude, hell no. Nah, bro.
But I don't really give a fuck if you use it or not. I don't give a fuck. But anyway.
I'm not a fan of that word, even the slang version of it. But I tolerate it with him because it makes sense. But like for me, like I always heard my other white friend that used to live here at the hotel that I used to be here all the time with. He constantly dropped that like the slang version of that word like 24/7. You know what I mean? And
now,
like even that bothered me.
Now, Fatal Shirai says this. I remember they got me mad at me. They got mad at me over the whole Fortnite crossplay debacle when I told them they don't even play Fortnite. So why are you capping for Sony? And that's what I'm saying. So it is very crucial to be able to articulate stuff. This is why I've argued with so many people, including my sisters, and arguing with women will level you the fuck up. Put it that way. You will get leveled the fuck up.
Facts, dog.
They teach you how to argue. So
yeah,
I am a good amount of the times, I would say about 40 to 60 ratio, emotional in the conversations. But I will say this: I am very good at arguing. So when people mention about the Fortnite situation, what they were really talking about is nobody want to play it anyway. And I'm like, that's not the argument I'm trying to make. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about who's playing it or I'm talking about why can't Sony do anything wrong because everybody want to talk about consumer friendly. It doesn't matter if it's consumer friendly or not to you. I'm talking about on a global scale.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, why are you finding reasons to condone it? Now, they could back that argument up and be like, well, because we all know it's full of shit. Those people aren't going to play it either. But I'm like, you can't prove it either. You know what I'm saying? So you can't prove that people are not going to play it or whatever the case is. I'm sure that there's going to be some people that will play it because they can't get another console. The long and short of it is Sony doesn't want to lose money on those V-Bucks that they have to pay for because those V-Bucks will be interchangeable between each platform. And it's a corporate reasoning. I'm arguing the fact that the reason why they said no is because of the corporate reasoning for it, not what they're actually saying, which is to keep the children safe. That's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Right, so everybody that knows me, they know I get my. They know I know what the fuck I'm talking the fuck about. I know that shit. I have an encyclopedia of the gaming shit in my fucking brain. That's how I knew about this particular shit. Now, I'm not finished with you, Fatal.
Are you good?
Halo was one of the first games that used per pixel lighting on a console. No other console could do per pixel lighting. It was one of the most visually arresting games on the Xbox. It was running at a higher resolution. It could handle split screen. It could handle LAN. All that was built into the system. It had crazy ass draw distances and it had extremely detailed AI repertoire. When they made Halo 2, it was an order of magnitude better than the first one.
I just recently beat Halo 2 just the other day, actually.
You weren't there when Halo 2 was released. And everyone said that was the best looking game on any fucking console. Now you can argue if this thing's poor. You weren't there. You can't say that.
No. But
at the time,
at the Rainbow Six 3, Rainbow Six 3.
At the time, what did Rainbow Six 3 do?
It was visually more impressive than Halo.
What did Rainbow Six do graphically that Halo didn't? Because I can tell you what it didn't do that Halo did.
What's that?
I told you about the lighting.
Right. Even that wasn't that very impressive.
It was impressive at the time because no other fucking console did it.
No, okay, yeah, but back then when we were playing that shit, we had no clue what the fuck any of that was.
Oh no, I did. I definitely did.
I very doubt that you actually did.
Oh no, I did actually.
Did you?
Because yes, I wanted to be a developer.
Okay.
So you can't just say things because you assume. That's one of the reasons.
No, but I'm not assuming though. That's what I'm saying.
That I don't know, and I'm telling you that.
Well,
I
okay,
do.
that I'm assuming.
When I say yes, I do know. You still stuck by what you just said and said that I didn't know what I was talking about, and
but what I'm telling you, Josh, is right.
No, but I'm isolating that situation.
No, I know you are, but I'm also telling you too as well. Like, while Halo did some interesting shit for its time, and it did, and I give props to that, it still was not the best looking game on the Xbox original. Like, Halo 2 was visually impressive, yes. Like, don't get me wrong, it was, but it was not the most visually impressive.
By what standard?
Well, okay, actually, you know what? This is also another good actual discussion, because when you look at, I'm going to use modern times for a second here to bring up my point. Look at the whole entire art style between both fucking Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West and the Hellblade situation, right? Like, one at first glance is going to automatically assume that game fucking, like, Hellblade looks like dog shit, right?
Nobody said it looked like nobody anywhere looked like said that.
I'm saying actually, you didn't see amplitudes that I saw. But the thing of it is, fucking regardless of that, though, it's the most idiotic fucking comparison anybody can make. Of course, Horizon Forbidden West looks better graphically wise. It's got more fucking color to it, goddamn game, motherfucker. So of course it makes more sense. Which is the exact same appealing aspect to that of Halo. Any game that looks more visually colorful is a more visually superior looking game to that of, say, what Rainbow Six looks like.
So pause.
Or to what Gears of War looks like.
So pause. Right? Because Gears of War was using like a limited color palette, and people still say what it said. Yeah, so here's the thing. So here's the thing, right? You're talking about art style. We're talking about technical prowess.
But that's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about
you have to explicitly say art style to people. What Thrash was talking about, it was definitely.
Then that is a fuck up on me. Then I can agree with you on that.
That's what we were saying. Yeah. When Bungie was working on their system, they made that fucking system scream.
Oh, I know they did.
Because a lot of games weren't.
The miracle that game fucking went through was a fucking sheer miracle, dude, to have that game ready for launch.
There were a lot of things that game didn't. That game did that other games didn't do. Like, for instance, I mentioned per pixel lighting, and they had per pixel shading.
Right.
Every console before it used per vertice shading and lighting, and what that means is that when you took a flashlight, you shined it on the wall, you would see the edges of the polygon, because it would only it would calculate the lighting and the intensity based off of the coordinates of the points that created the triangle. So you would see very blocky looking light where it looks smooth on the Xbox. Not only that, but it could render normals. Normals is the next step up in textures, which allow for the texels on a texture to be able to express direction, which means that if you shine something like on a brick wall in a video game that had normals, it will resolve in such a way where it looked like it was 3D when it wasn't. They use it a lot for like sand or grit and things like that. Instead of it being just like a fucking picture, if they took a picture of it and slapped it on there, that picture can't express light direction on the picture. Whereas each texture has like a direction, and you can kind of, when you shine a light on it, it can tell, and it can start to occlude certain things or block certain things, and makes it look like depth when it doesn't. I already knew that shit years ago. I really, really wanted to be a programmer back then. And I stopped because the more I learned, the less impressed I was with games graphically. But the thing that Thrash was talking about, quite literally, was technical prowess. You can have a pretty looking fucking Mario is beautiful. There ain't no fucking technical showpiece. Am I lying? You chopped up there. You breaking up? Say it again.
Odd.
That nigga took a hardcore hit. Yo, Fatal. Sharad. Did you want to jump in and say something? I know you were on YouTube. You slid into the what do you call it? To the spaces. If you do, just
sorry, man. I was in the middle of coughing, dude.
Oh, I know.
Good shit.
Yeah, that's what they mean. And now 343 Studios don't have that fucking. Yeah, sure, I'll jump in. Okay, cool. Well, you were in there already. You just send the like or whatever the case is. Not the like, but to send a request or whatever. It's not. This show is about to end, just to let you know. And I wanted to monologue at the end because I'm so tired of everybody fucking dipping every time I have. Every time I say something off topic, they're like, oh, I'm not here for this shit. I don't want to hear about world news. I'm sick of it.
Right?
I already live in the world. Some shit you gotta know. So I think, honestly, I'm exhausted. I've exhausted this particular conversation. Whenever you jump in, you can jump in and speak on it. But I'm going to move on to our off-topic section, which is the Maxines don't work well.
The what?
Maxines. I can't say the word because how do you send a request? I think you send them. You just press the mic.
Yeah, just press the mic button there, Sherrod.
And then the thing says. I'm sure it doesn't say it like that, but
kind of a nice little.
It's cool. You know, while he's figuring shit out, the funny thing is people were saying that Spaces was such a clout. I keep saying that shit, so I have to.
I heard you the other day say that on the other live stream, dude, that I joined, but I didn't say anything, though. I just wanted to pay, just listen.
Must be different on mobile than it is on the desktop. It's only on mobile.
Yeah, it's only on mobile. Yeah, you can't talk on. They haven't added that functionality yet, which they hope. I hope they do soon.
Oh, he's on. I forgot he had PC, nigga. So he's on the PC. I get it. If you click onto my profile, you can't talk. You can only listen. That's poop. Oh, wow. So we're going to talk about. I mean, I have to wrap this shit up anyway. But we're going to talk about the Maxines don't work. I can't say the word that I'm looking for. But what rhymes with Maxines? And you'll get exactly what I'm referring to.
Oh God, here we go.
No, I think you need to know. I think everybody needs to know.
But I mean, don't we already know?
No, apparently not. Apparently, you got a lot of people that be like, "Don't take it, so I won't catch it." The reason why I caught COVID TV is because you gave it to me after I was quadruple jabbed. You did it to me. Like what? Do you know anybody that's been that had CV?
What, the fucking COVID?
Nope.
My mom did.
She's vaccinated?
She got vaccinated after she got it. She's not going through that experience again.
But it's funny though, right? If you can catch that shit, why is everybody acting like people that are unvaccinated can't get the vaccine afterwards? Yeah. Like, why is it like if you catch it, you're done? Like, you ever know that narrative?
Well, the reason why they say that is because they feel that once they've had it and their body fights it off or whatever the case may be, it's got the antibodies of the virus fucking in their immune system now. So if they catch it again, then it's not going to be as dangerous as the first time around. No.
Well, here's the thing though. But my sister, she caught CV, right?
Right.
She caught CV and she got the vaccine. She ended up getting it.
Yeah.
But it's like whenever you get the vaccine, right? That's a problem. I mean, whatever you're affecting other people. So here's the thing, right? Here's what I will say. For the people that's going to say that it could be some medical misinformation or whatever the case is, I want you to understand what Pfizer said. And this is what we're dealing with now. And I'm going to say this shit and wrap it the fuck up. I am not going on and on and on with this. So they said, if you've been boosted, or complete the preliminary series of Pfizer or Moderna vaccines within the last 6 months, right? Or complete the primary series of Johnson & Johnson within the last 2 months. They want you to wear a mask around others for 10 days. You get test on the 5th day, if possible. And if you develop symptoms, get a test and stay home. I want to understand something. This is the thing that blows me away. This is the question I always have for people, right? There's 2 things I want to actually talk about with this one. I thought that when you take the Maxines, right, that you don't have to mask up. Didn't they say that? Fatal? This nigga hacking. Is he even in there? I don't think he left. He probably dipped.
Oh no, my bad. Shit. What the fuck? My bad. Yeah, they said the exact same thing over here in Canada as well. At least in my province, they said, "Oh yeah, if you get double vaccinated, blah 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 blah, like 5 days after you get vaccine, like your second dose, you can walk around without wearing a mask." What the fuck happened to that fucking goddamn freaking law?
I'm just asking questions right now because apparently, you can't even ask questions because people feel some kind of way. And I mentioned this before. People get so fixated on, following the trend. You know what I'm saying? This is why people concede when a whole bunch of people was against them. You have a whole bunch of people that say, take the thing, take it, take the next thing, take it. You're like, I'm just trying to tell you this look a little fugazi, don't you think? You just look at you're anti-maxer. It's like, no. Oh wait, I heard.
Like, you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. It's the way I look at it, man. Like,
wait, I heard something.
There
you go.
Oh, excuse me, heartburn. It's like you're fucked if you don't take it, and you're fucked if you do take it. So it's like pick your poison.
Well, I don't think that you're fucked per se. I just think that you just need a little bit of clarity. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with that. That's what I mean. Like, if there was more clarity about like what this vaccine is, what it's doing to your body, and how it's affecting your body.
I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to go there. The reason why I don't want to go there is because people are going to automatically assume that this is some sort of conspiracy theory thing.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
I'm just saying, look at the context clues. I thought it was supposed to protect you. Oh, it's a symptom indicator. So what the fuck is the point of taking it then?
But the real question is you have to be asking is look at how inflated those numbers are.
That's a conspiracy theorist thing too.
God damn it. See what I mean? This is why I don't like having conversations about COVID.
No. Everything is set up so you don't question the shit. That's what it boils down to. Other Fatal. What's going on, man?
All right, can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear, buddy.
All right.
What do you have to say about the other topics before I go?
I was saying, I heard what happened on the round table. I'm still trying to figure out where these pop-ins are in Forza Horizon 5 that King Thrash is talking about. I played it on the PC, no pop-in. So I figured, okay, I have a 3070 Ti, I have an i9 10900K, so maybe I won't find the pop-in. So I tried the Xbox Series S, still no pop-in. So
I think he may have gotten a name of it. Because I can point out what he's referring to. You know what pop-in is because you fucked around with PC. Pop-in would be a sudden load of an object.
But even the draw distance is pretty decent on that game. It's like
no, but here's the operative word. You said pretty decent. Mm-hmm. He's referring to the flaws that you would normally see in general. It does draw in. It fades in.
Yeah, cool. It fades in. But then again, it's a racing game, so it's like
I know, but we're not talking about the what do you call it? The outlier. I'm not outliers. What's the word I'm looking for?
So the background and stuff like even does the same thing in Dirt.
It does it with every single game on Earth.
Yeah,
including Nanite. Right, Nanite is another thing that it does it with too. You just can't see it. It's hidden very, very well, and it has its flaws too. But a lot of technical people don't know of it. He's only reporting what he's observing, and what he's going based off of is this is a 12 teraflop system. Mm-hmm. Why the fuck is it even there in the first place? To be honest with you, I will say this. Is it Charade?
Yeah, Charade, whatever.
What is it?
Whatever. Teon works.
No. What do you want? What is the name? What did you intend?
I use Charade. Charade works as well. It doesn't matter.
Charade. All right, Charade.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll say Charade.
Charade works. Charade works. Teon works. Lightbringer works. Xanatos works.
So Charade, right? So you got this situation where Forza to me is not that impressive technically.
No.
You know why it's not impressive? You know why it's not impressive? Because the Xbox One is able to do it.
Yeah, like any of these systems could have done it. PlayStation 5 could have done it.
No. I'm not talking about what other systems could and could not do it. I'm just stating people were saying that it was the first next generation experience, and I'm like, did you play Xbox One? Because it doesn't look much different.
I guess what's next gen for a lot of console gamers is old hat to me. So,
but we're not talking about parity. We're not talking about talking about any of the extra stuff. We're just talking about face value.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
It is not a next, nor is Horizon. It's not a next generation game. It's based off of the merits.
No, yeah, it's cross gen. Yeah,
it's based off of the merits of how many effects you can throw on the screen.
How many effects and like how fast the load times are, and etc. It's old hat to me.
Thrash's argument is that you have a lot of Xbots complaining about or saying that their console is superior and that there's no flaws. That's who he's addressing.
Yeah, that's par for the course. He asks the ponies, they'll say everything's great in Ponyland. The bots will say everything's great in Botville. Like if you ask the drone Nintendo fans, everything's great over there. So it's
nobody cares. But that's the thing.
Josh.
I'm just saying nobody cares about graphics.
Everybody cares about graphics, but I'm just saying this is par for the course.
But that's the thing that Thrash was saying.
You see, I disagree because
I'm not taking up for him. I'm just explaining.
I understand. Yeah, but
because he gets some things wrong. He gets some things wrong. So he gets a lot of things wrong.
Yeah, it's like when he said during that roundtable with Fatal was on that they don't flank you. So what I did after that, I fired up Halo Infinite, and I was hiding behind a rock trying to wait for my shield to low up. Next thing I know, flank him, get him, flank him. It's like
people say that the AI for Horizon is terrible in terms of the human AI. And
you're talking about Horizon Zero Dawn?
Zero Dawn, yep.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? A lot of people played on normal difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
The AI functions different on ultra difficulty.
Exactly.
You know, it's fucking crazy, dog. Like when going back and playing Halo 2, but for the first time and really experiencing that game and getting more of the story down and understanding more about the lore and everything like that, because that's what's pushing me to play the games now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so difficult coming off the heels of Halo Infinite with its smooth, buttery gameplay.
Oh, it's so good.
Going back to Halo 2, where it feels so fucking sluggish. Like it's crazy.
Halo Infinite is so good.
Well, you want to know something, too? There was a game that I played a long time ago. And it felt, I'll use this one for instance. I can't think of the game exactly, but I played Gravity Rush. The freedom that you felt when playing that game, you just float and everything was just like, I'm like, I never played a game like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I played Gravity Rush 2 and it was even more fucking freedom, right? Because it's not just that you can float anywhere, it's the control in midair that really gives you that kind of freedom while still feeling like you're falling, right? Anytime I go back to the original Gravity Rush, it feels stiff. I don't even give a fuck if it's 60 frames or not. And I'm sure Horizon Forbidden West is going to feel that same fucking way. I'm sure of it.
I get the same feeling between Neo and Neo 2.
There's just a difference between the two. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. But he's looking at it as a business standpoint. Where the game should be.
That's what kills me. Is like, why? We're customers. We're gamers. Play the games. If you don't like
you're looking at it. You're looking at it. He has to make content.
Again, like we're all content creators.
But he has to make content, so you have to make it interesting. You
Well,
can't just say,
this way.
you can't just say, why are you looking at those things? Just play games. Nobody want to just play games. And people want controversy.
But look at this way.
And I agree with you 100% on that too as well there, Josh. But at the same time, it's like, bro, like really, like a lot of these things, like even Digital Foundry does a lot of these things. And it's like, that's cool. But like us as a consumer wise, before they even came around or even a fucking myriad thought, nobody did that kind of shit. Because nobody was going to sit there and fucking zoom in on a goddamn rock to see pixels.
A fucking leaf.
Exactly.
Like, or even,
street. This game didn't render a leaf fucking 1.4 meters away. Like,
and I don't understand that too as well. It's like, dude, man, like if you're playing the game, right? Like, yeah, okay, take the pop-in thing, for example, right? I noticed it fucking on the series, on the 1S. Now I haven't played it on the series yet because I don't have it installed. But on the 1S, there was mad pop-ins. Fucking, I saw all the time. But it didn't ruin my experience or any of that crap because I wasn't paying attention to that shit.
His argument is not to say that the game is bad. His argument is to say that
like what it's doing from the technical prowess side.
Microsoft being a $2 trillion company should be doing better.
No, and I agree.
That's his consumer angle.
No, and I 100% agree. But at the same time, look at the game.
Is it nonsensical to bring that up? Yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, like this generation just started. Like Sony hasn't even pushed their console to the limit yet, and I can't wait till they fucking do it.
People don't understand this. Is that we always had cross-generation games. A lot of
always have.
Yeah, they've been
the first year, specifically PlayStation, always sucked ass. Always. Yep. It was when PS4 came out that they like you can look at Bloodborne. I don't know if Bloodborne came out the first year, but you had
Bloodborne was like 3 years in. Bloodborne because Bloodborne came out the same year I got the Xbox.
Battlefield 4 was a launch title. Like Battlefield and Dragon Age were launch titles.
Yeah, people don't understand that it was on the previous console and it ran horribly and it ran fine on the other ones. Like this is not new.
Yeah, Sony does this for years. Yeah.
This has been always the first.
You got to remember
Sony shit is poop.
You got to remember too, right? Like the PS4 in power wise compared to the Xbox One's fucking Jaguar dog shit CPU. I'm not surprised why
you say that. You can't even say that. A lot of people
because they both use the same CPU.
Well, either way.
What I'm saying is that people jump on it and they want to find a reason. If you're a good programmer, you can always
there is going to be legit reasons.
Yeah,
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. But at the same time, like, okay, the last time Microsoft did a cross-gen game that actually was vastly different was Forza Horizon 2, I think it was, from the OG Xbox to the 360. It was like a different fucking game entirely. That's the only time they've ever done that. The only time they've ever done that. Now, I'm not sure if they launched any first-party games from the 360 to the Xbox One. I don't think they did.
Yeah,
I could be wrong on that.
2015.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
He's talking about Bloodborne. Bloodborne came out in 2015. Now,
I got the PS fucking 4. August of that year.
Now, the one thing I would say is that Infamous Second Son graphically looked amazing. Gameplay wise, it took a step back. It was a lot of less than you couldn't do a lot of different things. So that was the biggest problem that none of the first years were that great for Sony consoles. They just weren't.
No, it seemed like that's a consistent thing with Sony. So I remember when the PlayStation 1 first came out, like the only game they had was a Battle Arena Toshinden and like something else. It was trash.
Right.
Twisted Metal, I think it was, and it didn't really pick up until Final Fantasy came out. And like PlayStation 2, like for me, it was dog crap until Virtua Fighter 4 came out on the console. But I was heavily involved.
PlayStation 2 became great the first year.
Like, all I remember the first year they had was like Tekken Tag Tournament, and that's about it.
There was,
but then after
the first year or two is when I think that's when Grand Theft Auto came out.
Yes, it was. It was. Sony shines 3 years into their fucking console life cycle.
It never fails. It never fucking fails.
This generation though, they're trying to break that mold, and I think they did a relatively good job so far.
Unfortunately, because now they weren't really digging into their PS3 was great in 2001. Yeah, they weren't digging into their first party developers.
No. Yeah, no, absolutely
now
not.
They are.
Absolutely
now they are, and now you can clearly see the strengths of what they're able to do. And unfortunately, it's going to be cross-gen.
And the game won't be out until like 2025, 2024, 2025, maybe.
Like, because like this year you guys got Horizon Forbidden West, which is next month, which is awesome. And then after that, you got GT7, which comes out on my birthday, which is awesome.
Wait, your birthday is March 4th?
Yes, sir.
You lie.
No, I'm being dead serious. March 4th, 1984.
My birthday is March 3rd, 1984.
No, what? Really?
Yeah.
Wow, what a coincidence. But yeah, so and then after that, you got God of War Ragnarok, right? And then there's also that recent update about Naughty Dog literally almost done with the remake of The Last of Us and Factions. So that might also be a thing. That might be like closer to like, middle of spring before summer hits. Maybe like that. So if that be the case, like 3 guarantee confirmed. Well, as long as God of War Ragnarok doesn't get delayed, but I don't see that happening because I think it just recently got rated in Korea. I think it did. So that game's literally. Man,
Umar, hold on for a minute. Hold on, Umar, you wasn't even born when all of these games came out. Aren't
exactly.
You like
Facts.
I'm fucking with you. You on point with all them games that you just mentioned. All them games.
I was also entrenched in the fighting game community at the time, so I was mostly on Dreamcast and arcades.
But you see, if you really pay attention, right, like the way the industry is going, I mean, fuck the service shit. I'm not even talking about that. Like, if you look in general, right, like at the studios that both these companies have recently bought out, like with Sony, picking up a couple little smaller studios, but are going to benefit them for like PC ports and also other games too as well in the foreseeable future, right? That kind of shit. And then Microsoft gobbling up fucking half the industry pretty much. They're not done yet. Neither of them are done yet. Like, I'm pretty sure Square Enix is going to be fucking going to Sony pretty soon. Like, I can already envision that already.
I honestly don't think that's going to be a thing.
They should. That would be a genius fucking move.
You already told me your age. You're the same age as my cousin.
The only reason why, Josh, I say, like, I mean, granted the fact that like Square is not that very fucking big as far as like the billion dollar company. Like they're big, but they're not that big. They're easy enough that Sony can easily snag them if they wanted to. You know what I mean? And then have fucking Square. They're not EA big, but have Square take their fucking Western studios that they have, Crystal Dynamics and fucking whatever you want to call it, sell those off. Or let them go independent again, or whatever the case may be, or fucking give them to Microsoft, whatever. But take Square and keep the fucking goddamn JRPGs secured to your PlayStation brand.
Give up who?
Give up Self Crystal Diamond. Give up Tomb Raider.
Stop. Now you talk about Tomb Raider, and I can't let you talk about that.
No, but I didn't say anything about Tomb Raider.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is Crystal Dynamics did not do Tomb Raider justice, period. Mm-hmm. They don't have the adventure bone in their body. I did not want the type of game that they made at all. I didn't. And
I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it.
It's a good game, not a good Tomb Raider game. And I don't think Sony will be capable of handling that fucking that IP either. They're really going to do shrink her fucking breasts so you can avoid the male gaze. I don't got time for that shit. And to be fair, if Crystal Dynamics and fucking whatever the other company is, Eidos Montreal, were to actually get like sell them off from Square, and Microsoft picks them up, perfect. Because half the fucking team from Eidos and half the fucking team from Crystal Dynamics, man, are probably working already for fucking one of the companies now that Microsoft recently picked up.
But do you want to give Microsoft Blood Omen the Legacy of Kain series?
Why not?
They're not. They're not doing anything with it anyway.
Yeah, they're not doing nothing with it.
You know what I mean? Ain't like they've been making them shits out there, and then like the sequels to like Soul Reaver wasn't that great either. It was supposed to be one game, but they fucked that up. Regardless of the matter, what I wanted to say is, I get it. A lot of the arguments is coming from making content and making it as, kind of just like what Digital Foundry does. They deliberately play on to console warrior and calling it a day. That's how they make their fucking, the money, and that's how you get engagement. Now it is fighting with Xbox. Fucking head already hurts. There's that.
minus me, Josh, man. Like I don't associate myself.
Like I don't
with
even. To be honest with you,
dog.
to be honest with you, PlayStation is also irritating the shit out of me. Those ponies. I'm so tired of the fucking elitism that they have going on. What about this? Fucking play the fucking game. Who gives a fuck what they're doing? Who cares?
Now you see why I've been on Twitch mostly. I'll come back to do Crumbside Wrestling, which airs every Monday when I'm not being lazy.
Shameless plug.
Exactly.
Check that shit out. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is this, right? I get what they were saying. I think that he had it wrong in terms of the AI flanking and stuff like that. Killzone 1 for the PlayStation 2 didn't have bad AI. It was glitchy. And I remember the reviews for that game. They said the AI was as dumb as an orange rolling down the hill. So I never forget that. That was so colorful in terms of a review, but it was a very buggy game. I get it. But on the outside, I guess people are looking for Microsoft to do more with their money. And that's the criticism. You know what I'm saying?
See, I wouldn't say anything unless I had the figures like with Game Pass and all that in front of me so I can look at it.
We're talking about the games that they are releasing in general. When they say about all the money, it's a $2 trillion company.
No, yeah, Microsoft itself, but the Xbox division.
I'm aware of this, but they can still break them off of some fucking money. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it is what it is. I would have liked.
Wait, what was the question? Sorry, I missed it. My bad.
It wasn't a question. It's just that I want Microsoft to be more competitive and not make the same type of game that they've been making. Like Halo should have been more grand than what it was. Whether you like it or not, and its current iteration is whatever.
Halo should not have launched that way. Absolutely. Again, I was right about that. So shout out to everybody who actually paid the fuck attention to what I was saying.
See, I enjoyed Halo, so I thought it was fine to me.
But also, I enjoyed 7 Days to Die.
That game is awesome. That game is fucking awesome.
7 Days is life. Which also, if you like 7 Days, you should follow me on Twitch.
Yeah, just don't play the console version because the console version is not getting any more updates.
No. They said never say never, and the PS5 and Xbox Series is getting one.
Oh, yeah, the pimp said like once they finish the PC version, they're gonna update the right now the PC version is on Alpha 20, and like once they go into beta, which should be like in the next couple of years, then they'll port it to PC. Or they'll update the PC version.
I think
it's going to be a long time. Like once they're done with PC, then they're going to start going back over to console.
I don't think it's going to take that long. I don't think it's going to take
years. It'll be PS6 will be out by the time that game, or PS7.
I think we'll get a 7 Days to Die probably in 2023. On the PS5.
What I heard, it came straight from Fubar Prime. So, who's one of the developers for?
I know. I follow it too, but I just there's some things. There's community managers, and then there's developers.
Mm-hmm.
So the
game's been in early access since 2013. I don't trust them to finish the game anytime soon.
I was surprised they put it out on the console at all. To be honest with you.
Here. I think they outsourced that to the people who made the Walking Dead games.
Yeah, they outsourced it, so it's possible that they can do it again. And they added like the far geometry shit and stuff. I was happy with what they did with it, and they just kept updating it. And then they went under, so there's that. So
have you played it recently on PC?
Oh no, I keep tabs on it. I haven't played it. I could play it on my PS on my PCs. I have a decent PC, but like. I don't be playing games on PC. I just don't, man.
You see, right now, like I said, we're in the Alpha 20. I primarily play it with Mischief Maker. So if you want to enjoy Mischief Maker, you come to my stream. You can redeem 100 free credits, and then you can use bits to interact with my game and try to fuck me up if you want to. But it costs very little to be nice. So
I've had so many cases like this when I used to pay the PS4 version. Mm-hmm. I met a lot of people playing 7 Days to Die. As a matter of fact, using 7 Days to Die, I was able to take the game. I created a channel. I used to call it Logged In, right? And I went from like fucking 0 to 264 subs in one fucking year.
Yeah, 7 Days to Die is the reason I've been having so many payouts on Twitch.
Like it's so good. Like that, but you know,
it is. But you know what also kills like a lot of people's visions for that game, though, man. That even want to try it out, dude, is how it looks, dude, and how like clunky it feels.
I
But
think
once you look past that, oh, that game is fucking incredible.
It doesn't look too like, especially
actually the game looks much better now than it did before.
Yeah, no, I bet it has. I bet it has.
Even on the console, they made sure that it looks. You know, it wasn't the best looking. You don't get it fucked up. Like it's not a major game, but it did more. Like I remember going into one of the cities, right, and every fucking room they use voxels, obviously, and those voxels have like properties. So brick has a certain threshold of holding things, whatever. So I remember going into a city and every single room was rendered. Every single room was rendered. All of them. Mm-hmm. And you can, if you wanted to, you could destroy the whole entire high rise if you really wanted to.
Yeah, we still got that.
No, I'm not saying you don't have it anymore. I'm just saying that's why I like the game. Because when you went out adventuring, I used to put it on random generator. But when you run out and adventured, it was a sight to behold. But before I close this out, I have a couple of questions for you. So I'm going to say this. This is my monologue, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, and it's not going to be very long at all. So you can either choose to stay or go, but I do have a question for you, Sharade. The last topic is basically about the vaccines that we were supposed to take, and nobody really wants to talk about how it's failing, essentially. And I'm not trying to criticize it, but I want people to critically think.
I'm not an epidemiologist or whatever they call it, so
I'm not either. I'm not either, and I'm not claiming to be one. But I'm gonna tell you this: just because you don't study viruses or anything like that, doesn't mean that you don't have fucking common sense. A lot of the rules don't make sense. So the argument that people make regarding CV and the vaccines, does it make sense to you by going into a fucking restaurant and you have to have your mask on when you take your order, but then take your fucking mask off and eat for the whole time?
We don't have to do that here in Michigan.
No. Well, I'm saying when it first started.
When it first started, we knew absolutely nothing about it. So, but like I said, I don't know the facts.
Say it again.
See, here in Michigan, you can go into restaurants unmasked. So. No,
and where I'm at in New Jersey, you can as well. But my point is this, because that's the typical argument that people say because they don't want to think. They don't want to think about what's happening. My whole thing is to kind of put out there. So you're taking the stance on I don't know anything. I don't want to get into it, and that's fine. So I'll just say what I need to say, and I'm going to respect that. But it never made sense to go to a fucking airport and go into an airplane and be masked up until you want to eat on a closed fucking environment. But people could say, oh, the filtration system. Well, what about a restaurant? You know, you order, and when I went to Texas, you had to wear your mask when you were getting your table. And then when you got your table, you could take off your mask and you could breathe and coughing and laughing and shit like that in a closed environment. According to them, it spreads by water droplets to stay in the air for a good hour. They said this is coming from them. So you don't have to be a fucking scientist to understand that something's not right with what they're telling you. Now, you also have the situation where this new strain is like 4 times or 10 times, whatever times contagious, and they shorten the time that you're supposed to be quarantined. If you start to lose your symptoms, then you could just walk right up and be fucking virused out. And they don't really have a good recourse as to why that's working. Oh, that means it doesn't incubate. It didn't change too much. So it's like, all right, fine. We leave that there too. They also said this, everybody should wear their mask. Now, if you do know this, you know that viruses are roughly the same size as each other. There's super viruses as well. But this corona-based virus is not a super virus. They're roughly the same size.
It's a mutation, yeah.
Right? They behave a little differently, but the same size. And the thing about wearing a mask is that it's supposed to catch the droplets. And this mask is not for you, it's for the other people. But people always get that shit fucked up. They get scared and they throw a mask on their face because they don't want to get other people's water droplets. Here's the thing. One of the guru people from CDC basically stated that there are just no more regular cloth masks with the designs and shit, the skull mask and BLM and all other shit. They said that that's nothing more than face decorations, and that what you really need is an N95 mask.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you really need.
Yeah, I have a box of those in the other room.
And here's the thing. Everybody's been parading around with those regular fucking masks trying to make it seem like a fashion statement, and it never fucking worked. And then everybody want to sit there and scratch their heads as to, oh, well, why is it spreading? Last but not least, these are things that people should think about, period. Whether you a fucking scientist or not, none of these things really make sense. Fauci just stated that if you want to explore these restaurants, right? And this is the last point I got. If you want to explore these restaurants, you want to make sure that you go. He says that it's contagious and that people are the breakthrough cases or whatever the case is. So in order for you to be protected, because they said that the breakthrough cases are for the people that are double vaccinated with the booster, they're still catching it. So they said in order for you to be protected, then you need to go into places where you know that they are vaccinated, but the vaccinated people are spreading it to everyone anyway. So what the fuck does it matter? Then they tell you if you have the vaccine, you still got to wear a mask and social distance. So why did I take the fucking vaccine in the first place? And the definition of a vaccine has been altered. The first thing that you speak to for the sheep or lemmings is that it was never supposed to prevent a virus. It was supposed to mitigate the symptoms. There is no vaccine that is supposed to just make you feel a little better. It's supposed to, it either works or it fucking doesn't. That's the thing. And a normal way of handling a virus, right? Or with a vaccine is so that the body can understand what it looks like, how it identifies, and so that you can the body can learn what it looks like and attack it on site. Now, the reason why flu vaccines don't work well is because there are many different strains of flu. So what the vaccine has with flu vaccines is that they have the more prominent strains that's in there. And they use chicken eggs to replicate a docile version of the virus so the body can understand how the virus is working and destroy it. Fine, whatever. But if you have 4 viruses that's in this vaccine and there's a 5th strain that's floating around, you can still get that 5th strain that's not in that vaccine. And that's why it fails. Not because it just doesn't work well. It just is or isn't. You don't hear about people talking about polio. It's supposed to be a symptom mitigator. It either fucking works or it fucking doesn't. Chickenpox.
Everyone's vaccinated against polio.
That's what I'm saying. It worked because of the type of virus that it is. The virus, that the virus doesn't really mutate well. That's the thing. That's the reason why it works. But stuff that are in the corona family, colds, flus, corona 19, or, those things mutate very fast. Now, they mutate, but there's a trade-off. The trade-off is this. They can quickly change, but the how deadly it is, a virus or anything living, any parasite doesn't want to kill the fucking host typically because it wants to replicate. Its purpose is to replicate. So it's not trying to kill you. It doesn't know how people's immune system works. So they kind of go gun-ho on the shit. And then eventually, once it starts to mutate and adapt, its sole purpose is to be fruitful and multiply. That's its purpose. So now we got the Omicron virus that is mild, according to Africa and their scientists. And people are shortening the time. Notice how the more contagious it is, the less severe the symptoms are. But it's more contagious and you shorten the span of time for which you can quarantine. Like, that shit doesn't make sense. And then the reason
thing I know is I'm enjoying the social distancing.
You anti-social fuck.
And I agree with him on that, dude. I'm sorry.
I tend to like people and talk with people.
Can just stay away from me. That's great, and that's why I'm loving this virus.
But I'm glad.
I hope the pandemic gets worse.
I'm glad, Sheree, that you admit that you don't want that many people around you. I'm glad about that. But the whole point of this is that people need to kind of think about what the fuck's happening. I don't know what's happening, but I know that some of the shit they're saying is fugazi as a motherfucker. That's all.
I just want to know. I want 2020 to happen all over again. My YouTube channel blew up because of it.
Hell
my
no, I don't want that shit to happen
because
again.
of it.
Hell
I was able to actually,
people,
pursue the stuff I wanted to do.
Man,
I was able to get a bunch of new graphics cards covers because of it. I actually found my niche.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the reason why the graphics cards are fucked up now is because of this shit. There's ramifications for things. There's reasons. True. There are. You can't have it locked down.
See, now I made money scalping PS5s because of it. God,
and that's fine too. But listen, I'm trying to tell you, I think you would have made money anyway, even if it wasn't, because I don't think they would have made enough.
They would have made enough. I think they would have. I know they would. The resell on the Xbox Series consoles would have sucked because the resell on the Series S is terrible.
Yeah, well, I don't think it would have. I think I don't think they would have made. I mean, it would have been better than this, of course, but it wouldn't have been at that level. But that's all I wanted to really say about all this shit. I didn't want to take this shit too far, and I'm gonna do, like, if you didn't know that I was doing this, but like I would have 2 gaming topics, and the third one is just basically world news shit, and that's all. Really, that's what I normally do. I usually,
ever since we've been wearing these masks, I have not been sick.
I got sick, and one of the reasons why you didn't get sick is because you probably weren't around people.
Exactly. Well, actually, I work at a university, so I work at a cafeteria at a Big Ten university. So I have to be around the student body. But even then, we wear masks inside the cafeteria. And like once I'm done with that, it's like, oh, people are away from me. It's great. I don't have to like be around so many folks. I'm loving this.
I want to say this though, because the same thing happened to me. I would get colds every fucking year. Do you know what the change, or do you know what the different factor was? The X factor of this? It was basically
so many nasty people.
No, it wasn't the mask. Mm-hmm. It was the kids were stay home.
Exactly, keep their nasty crotch goblins themselves.
And the kids weren't making their parents sick.
Exactly, people can keep their little nasty crotch goblins at home. They're nasty little crotch goblins. Keep them away from me.
That was the reason why I didn't get sick. Mm-hmm. That was the reason why I didn't get sick. It was the reason was because the kids weren't around each other to be spreading it and then spreading it to their parents. I did get sick and I did get COVID. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Now my experience with COVID was very benign. That's all I could really say. I'm not going to sit there and be like, it's not that bad, because it could be bad for other people. I've known somebody.
I've known some people who got, like some friends of mine got it. I know King Thrash got it. He said he almost died twice because of it.
But here's the thing. I talked to him about that shit too. And they're like, here's the thing about this day and age. People love to be victims. I'm going to say that about just everybody. Mm-hmm. Because I had a shitty life and I found myself slipping into the same fucking situation. When I was trying to pep somebody up, it felt good to say that nobody can top me on how shitty my life was. It was the weirdest fucking thing. It was just like, I made it through it and I had a shitty life that happened. And you don't, you know what I mean? I was putting somebody down for not having a shitty life. That's what it came down to.
That's basically rap music in a nutshell.
Thrash smoked and Black and Miles at that. Mm-hmm. And he didn't exercise. So, you know, you get something that's a contagious flu, and flu is nothing to be playing around with. I almost died when I had a flu back in 2019. I almost died. Now, I didn't die because the flu was so severe. I almost died because of the way that I handled it. I kept going to work thinking that it was going to go away. And then when I would get home, I would pop aspirin like a motherfucker and be under a fucking blanket while it was fucking July and I had my heat on in my house. I could have died from organ failure for overheating. I was so freezing, I didn't know what the fuck to do. And I should have went to the hospital at that point in time, which I ended up doing eventually, and found out I had pneumonia and I had the flu and I had to get back on my horse and all other stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, The flu is nothing to play around with. So when people say it's like the flu, that's not to belittle the fucking.
The flu will kill you.
The flu will fuck you up. Trust and believe. That ain't nothing to play with.
Yeah, if you don't got the right stuff to take for fucking the flu, bro, man, like, yeah, you're gonna get the harsh way of treating it, man. And some people do that shit. Some people
you can't. And no, that's another thing too. By the way, Thrash said he wanted to sweat it out. Ass.
That's the worst way to do it.
He's in Cali. He wrapped himself up in a fucking blanket. He did exactly what the fuck I did. And what happens is when your body overheats, right? Because it's trying to burn everything. It's using energy. It knows it doesn't want to eat. It turns off your desire to eat. So it can give the other body or the other parts of the body energy to create the fever to try to burn whatever is inside. Mm-hmm. So that's why he wasn't eating. He lost weight not because the virus is eating him from the inside out. He just didn't eat.
He wasn't eating nothing.
Yeah, so that's what my mom was the same way too, man. When she went through it, man.
And to be honest with you, I think a lot of people in America need to fucking lose weight. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, you can't sit there and be like, "Oh my god, the COVID is so horrible. It messed me up," and be fucking 350 pounds. I don't think it was really COVID that really did that much. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That's what I think it was.
Yeah, dude.
So, like, you know what I'm saying? When I had COVID, this is what happened with me. My lower back was hurting, and usually if I fast, and if I fast and if I exert myself, sometimes I'll get like my muscles will ache. Fine, whatever. You know, it's typical. But I was like, damn, I got a crazy headache, and I have like a slight sore throat. So I went to sleep, and I went to sleep for a long time. I woke up, like, you know, Spider-Man, right? You remember he felt fucked up with that spider bite, and he woke up refreshed? Mm-hmm. That's how I felt. When I woke up, I slept like for 16 hours, but when I woke up, I was like, damn, I feel good. I went to the gym like an idiot because it felt like I was just congested. And when I went to the gym, I started feeling sick again, like a little bit sick because I was exerting energy and it was taken away from my immune system. So I was there, okay, cool. And then I started getting postnasal drip. That's the shitty part. Postnasal drip is ass. And I started losing my voice a little bit, which is typical of me getting colds. I didn't get to have a cold for like a year and a half. And usually I get it twice annually. Fine. All of a sudden, I started losing my smell gradually. That's also typical too for a cold. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then it didn't come back. And then I couldn't smell nothing. I couldn't smell anything. And I was like, but I didn't feel bad, right? I started feeling better. I had like a cough, right? Because of the postnasal drip causes cough. It irritates your throat. And I was speaking to my sister. She told me, she was like, yo, I think you need to use that saline like solution and put that in your sinuses. I was like, I don't want to do all that shit. So I let this rock for like a month. Now I got my smell back, but it was like, you know, diminished. So I was like, I want this over with. And I kept coughing too. I kept taking Mucinex, and that's not the thing to do. You want to clear out your sinuses, not stop your mucus from, you know, excreting. That's the wrong thing to do. So when I used the saline spray and put it in my fucking nose, and I was blowing my nose and nothing would come out. It was just, I felt like I was just congested. But when I did this fucking saline spray, it's going to get nasty. I left it in there, and then I tilted over to let all the fucking salt solution came out. All the mucus came out, all of it. And then I could smell again. But then I was smelling weird things. I was smelling onions, and I was smelling coffee, like burnt coffee or so. Like my nose, the receptor for smell was glitchy. Mm-hmm. So it was like it was glitched out. So like. And eventually, it took me like a month and a half to stop. I got my smell came back, but it was smelling weird shit. And it took me a month to get rid of that. That was the extent of it. I felt regular. It's just that my fucking sensory for my smell was fucked up. That was about it. But I also go to the gym every day. So, and I also eat well. You know,
yeah. See, so you had a balance there, man, with that shit. A lot of people don't have that.
Not only that, but they also say this. They just had this. It's funny because the CDC finally came out. It was like, it seems like, according to our records, like some dumbass shit. It seems like being overweight could put you at a higher risk of being ill with COVID. No fucking shit.
They're trying to trick people into losing weight.
Now you should have been telling people to get the fuck outside and do a jumping jack or two. You know what I'm saying? Like, or eat better. But you don't want to do that. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people say, hold on, wait. A lot of people say this. This is why I wanted to get out. And you say, a lot of people put so much trust in the CDC, and there's so many things that they get sued for because they fuck up so much. Not only that, but like, I remember one time they said drinking orange juice is as good as drinking water. And I'm a juice drinker. I'm going to tell you that right now. And then 5 years later, they said that's the worst thing you could fucking do. You know what I'm saying? So when people don't trust them, the FDA and the CDC, it was with good fucking cause. A lot of the things they say 2 years later, the shit causes cancer or something's wrong. Doesn't matter. Well, that's the facts of the facts of the facts. I don't care what anybody
the CDC did say that me and us and other Fatal couldn't use the same bathrooms because we'd give them a disease. That came from the Surgeon General back in the 60s.
Well, oh, yeah, right. They said that black people have an extra muscle in their leg too.
Exactly.
So you can't, like, people was like, trust the science. For real? To a degree. I mean,
maybe some of that science is designed to fucking as like a fear tactic, man. Like the way like news is treated nowadays. Well, I mean,
I'm sure it is. Like, honestly, I don't like. I typically don't want to go into there because if it makes people think critically, then people start calling it a conspiracy theory. You know what I'm saying? So I like to have things and say things that people can think about. You know, that's the way I argue. I told you I'm good at debating and arguing because of that. You know, I don't ever use anecdotal shit. I try not to ever use anecdotal shit because that'd be any excuse for idiots to be like, you can't prove that. Well, you can't prove it either. You explain that shit to me. Why they told you a year ago to wear these fucking fucked up masks and they don't even fucking work. You found it a year later. Explain that shit. And like you said before, Fatal and yourself are black. They said that black people carry fucking diseases. Explain that fucking shit. Same fucking people.
Josh, wasn't it you that said the story about I can't remember what relative it was, but like that fucking had cancer or whatever you want to call it, but like she didn't know that she had it. And then when she went and fucking see a doctor about it, and the actual test came back positive that she had some form of cancer, whatever you want to call it, like it diminished her life so quickly, like before your eyes. Like
I don't think it was me.
That wasn't you? Okay, I forget who that was that said it to me, man. But like that shit kind of brings fucking up a valid good point. Because like when you think about it, right? Like I haven't seen my doctor in what, like 2 decades. Like honestly, no bullshit. The last time I went and saw a doctor, man, was like fucking like almost like 16, 17 years ago. It's been a long time.
I didn't see my doctor since I was like, what, my last operation? Well, no, I was 18. I'm 37 now, so I will be 37.
Yeah, the last time I saw my doctor is when I had to get my teeth fucking removed because I had to get clearance for that. But for the anesthesia shit. But anyways, I find that fucking the less you know, like the moment you go to a doctor, the doctor diagnoses you and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, you got like fucking this kind of cancer, or you got whatever the case may be." Your body automatically, like your brain cannot remove that fucking fact out of your brain to the point where like it eats you alive, dude. And like, so when you start going for like chemo and you start doing all these other things, whatever the case may be, like it wears you the fuck down. You know what I mean? But you willingly know, like you're like subconsciously, you know that like you have cancer, whatever you want to call it. Whereas prior to her going to the doctor, she already had fucking cancer prior to that. But it downgraded her immune system so fucking quickly when the doctor like revealed to her that she did without her like prior to knowing. Like I feel like that also alleviates fucking a lot of that pressure too as well from like not going to see a doctor. Because like if me right now, let's say if I had cancer right now, I'm glad that I don't know. Because if I don't know, then I'm not going to be constantly thinking about it, and that's, you know what I mean. That's going to fuck with my chemical balance. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Matter.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to find that right word, like to use to describe that. But I feel like that's why a lot of the times when you see news coverage talking about CV like the way they're doing it, it's just there to mind fuck you, dude. Like,
you guys hear
and
me?
a lot of people don't even wear their
yeah.
masks correctly. Because I remember back when I was in the army, it's like the main reason they had was shave. Main reason we shaved is so the pro mask will fit correctly. And you will see dudes with like full beards, you know, and their beard is like stopping the mask from covering their face.
People don't even know how to fucking use the mask. 9 times out of fucking 10. So just saying that you put something on your fucking face don't mean shit. People have that shit dangling from their upper lips, and those blue surgical masks, not the N95s. Even if you did, you supposed to pinch the fucking wiring.
Yep.
To stop it from there. Nobody's doing that shit. They throw that shit on to keep it the fuck moving. That's why I'm like, this whole shit is fugazi. If
or they wear it as a chin diaper.
They wear it as a chin diaper. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, fuck it. Like, fuck it. I'm glad that they said that fuck it. 5 days. So people can stop being. I already have a theory about this. What I think is going to happen eventually is that they need people's mindset to be away from the vaccines, and they're going to start moving towards the pill. They're going to be like, oh, we don't know what to do with this virus. It's spreading everywhere, but we're going to try this pill. And it's coming. It's surprising results. And then everybody's
like this society isn't pilled up enough as is.
Well, the more the merrier, right? I will say this. The same thing happened to, this is again, they talk about some trusted science. Trust your doctors. There's a guy on YouTube. He has 400,000 subscribers. He felt a little bit of pain in his testicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I don't really think too much of it. But he did go to the doctor, I think like a year later. And he asked the doctor to check it out. You know what the doctor said? He was like, oh, you're fine. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, I need to get a second opinion. Turns out he had cancer. He had to get it removed.
Yeah, same thing happened to a friend of mine. You know, he went to the hospital and they just said, oh, you got bronchitis. It's like, no, this is worse than bronchitis. And turns out he had COVID.
You see?
Yeah, dude. They bullshit. Yeah.
The bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's saying trust the science, and I get it. But people act like the science isn't infallible. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like the fact that they actively change the definition of a vaccine, because the vaccines usually it either works or it fails. That's basically what it is. It's not supposed to make you feel better. The reason why they're saying this is because this vaccine is not normal. If you can call it a vaccine. What it's doing is it's not injecting a fucking dormant or a docile version of the virus so the body can examine it and figure out how to deconstruct it, right? It's telling your own cells to make a portion of the COVID. And that's functionally different. So that's why they're saying, oh, it's a symptom mitigator, because it doesn't work the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying that you can have your thoughts on it, but I'm just letting people know. This is what the CDC told me. That's what they said on their own website. I can't help it. If you don't like the fucking news, that's what they said. They said that it worked just like that. And I'm telling you, the virus isn't fucking intelligent enough to stop, or polite enough to stop in the waiting room when you ordering food and you just pick up your COVID when you leave. That makes no fucking sense.
Tip for me.
Shit. Yeah, I mean, and then, like that's why I said before, when I make these type of subjects, right? A lot of people can't stand it because either they're sheep and they don't want to, or they don't want to critically think. People don't want to critically think anyway. Not even viruses.
Or maybe this is not the content they came for.
Well, no, they see it there and they know it. It's just that, you know, I mean, I keep telling them, like, should I just cut that shit out? And everybody's like, oh. There's a reason why I'm doing the third subject. You know what I'm saying? I do the third subject.
This is what people say, and that's what people do. I just go with what my analytics say and what my views say. It's like people, for example, people say they love Crumbside Wrestling, but, you know, compared to my benchmark videos, like no one's watching Crumbside Wrestling.
You see what I mean? That's shit. Like, I know what you mean. They be on that fuck shit. They be like, it's such a good idea.
I want to be in it. Put me in. Change my move. Like Hyperfan Gaming, you need to change my moveset. But they don't be in the comment section.
I just got mad retweets. Ain't nobody in this bitch that retweeted it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at it. So that's what I said. Like, if no one showed up, if you didn't show up, if Fatal didn't show up, fine. I was going to, the show was going to be shorter, but I was going to keep that. I'm just putting it on YouTube, and people on YouTube, that's the funny thing. They kind of like it. That's the analytics that I'm reading and whatever the case is. And if people stayed into the end and they get like a little bonus thing, like sometimes you want to get behind the scenes of the person, you know, that's the reason why I use this off-topic subject, this off-topic portion, We can talk about games all day, but then people don't know who you are necessarily, and people probably do want to know who you are.
Well, then people come to like these gaming podcasts for their own confirmation bias. Like if you're like heavy PlayStation, it's like, I will go to Sick Humor, I'll go to King Thrash, I'll go to J Barry or J Tech. You know, if you're pro Xbox, I'll go to Dirt, I'll go to Sean, I'll go to Zaire or whoever. But they don't actually care about the games. Like half the time when they list war games they have no intention of playing.
Nine. That's the same thing happened with Gravity Rush. They sat there and act like Sony had all these fucking games. Did you buy it, bitch?
I remember one time I was in a Facebook group and this one PlayStation fanboy, he was listening to games. And I just noticed Fire Pro Wrestling. And I'm like, dude, I don't see you in the forums. You're not part of the community. Why are you listening with Fire Pro? It's like, oh, this is one of the games that we could play. I was like, okay, you can play it now. Just buy the PC version.
He did the anime. He did the anime gas where you said that. I don't see you in the forum.
Exactly. I'm playing Fire Pro now, and you're like, listen with Fire Pro, and you're not part of the community. It's like, what's wrong here? Make it make sense to me.
No, because they can't. You know what I'm saying? It's just list wars, just to validate their, like you said, their bias, and it's fine. That's what people do. Even with the vaccines, you got people that want to go with Trump because it validates them. And you got people who want to go Biden because it validates them.
Well, here's the funny thing is, Trump is pro-vaccine.
He's the one that initiated all this shit, yo. And the funny thing is, the fucking vice president was like, if Trump told me to do it, I wouldn't do it. Nope. And then all of a sudden, as he came out of office, it's so dumb. Why people can't see shit is beyond me.
Yeah, that's like a lot of these vaccines came out during Trump's presidency.
These shits were 20 years in the making. And the funny thing, if you look into how they worked, they didn't work well back then either because they were using all animals. You know, but it's a cool concept. So you don't have to waste all them chicken eggs to make the docile version of the virus.
Yeah, just test on monkeys like we've always been doing. They're the closest thing in the animal kingdom to us.
Yo, I see some YouTube videos of monkeys and shit like that. You see the one where the fucking dude answered the door, got a pizza, and paid the dude a tip?
Yeah. I've seen some monkeys where they're pretty much in the Stone Age. Like they're just like humans, but they're in our Stone Age. You know, the funny thing?
I also seen this too, and I'll close the show with this. This is the funniest thing. It's not funny. It really isn't. It's fucked up. But it sounds funny to me.
Like you see the video where like monkeys are using like heavy equipment to tear down forests?
No. I saw an orangutan, like he was like sawing some kind of thing. And he was doing it like very human, like no. But it was so stupid. Like it was so many questions. That's why it was funny. Not because the girl was getting her face ripped off. But the chick had a chimpanzee.
Yeah, I think I know this story.
You heard that video? And the chimpanzee was fucking up her friend, and she was like, "Oh God, help! He's killing her!" And you heard a balcony in the background. To me, it sounded fake. I was like, and they showed the after things. And I felt bad for laughing, but like it just sounded totally fucking fake. She was like, "He's killing her." They was like, "Who, ma'am? The monkey." And it was like. See, I know I'm not bad. I know I'm not bad. Y'all need to find this video. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know the story you're talking about.
She was like, please help. I was like, that's not a real story. And then they showed her the girl got her face ripped off by a chimp. You're not supposed to, you're not supposed to grin at one of them motherfuckers because they look at that as disrespect. But yeah, I've seen a lot of things, and I've seen chimpanzees. They have crazy fucking memory too, yo. They have like these little
have better short-term memory than we do. Like
it's unreal. Like their RAM must be crazy. They got that GDDR80 for system memory, yo. That shit. They look at something and they gave them. It had to be a matrix of 16 by 16, right? Squares and shit like that. And they will randomly flash the numbers, and they will have numbers in there, right, up to 16. And the monkey literally was able to, it will flash it in order. And the monkey would look at that shit and be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? All for a fucking biscuit. A Popeye's biscuit.
Oh, Jesus.
We came from monkey shit. And
exactly. How many jokes you could derive from that? It just writes themselves.
That's racist. Anyway, guys,